Hello, everybody. I'm starting a new channel, and we're going to be talking about whiskey, bourbon, toys, media. Just want to give a quick short to let everybody know what to expect to talk about, plus much more. Hello, everybody. I'm starting a new channel, and we're going to be talking. Hey guys, this is Dave with B Tim Reviews. How's everybody doing tonight? Hope you're doing good on this Tuesday. Good Tuesday for me. I guess, there's this thing going on tonight, a debate. Jim reminded me, Ben reminded me. I was like, oh boy, I guess we can talk about the debate along with everybody else on YouTube. And then we'll have some other stuff to talk about after that. But I think it's starting pretty soon. So let me get Jim on here.
It already started. Yeah, it started.
All right.
But it's all right. I'll back it up. I'm just trying to find a good spot to see it.
How are you doing, buddy?
I'm all right. Could be worse.
Still feeling bad?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I just don't feel. I don't know. I just don't feel right. I feel like I got like a cold or something.
Yeah, my wife. I think the solar flare is impacting the internet, or the debate's impacting the internet. One of the two.
Something is.
Julio, how are you, sir?
Doing all right. I'm 2 days in on a week vacation.
Oh, that's right. So you get to sleep in and all that good stuff.
I had a lot of personal shit I was going to try to get done this week, but so far I've done fuck all. I've just slept late.
Tuesday, though.
I know there's still 3 days, but
yeah.
I'm going to push myself a little bit. Otherwise, it's going to wind up Sunday and I'll have nothing done and I have to work.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, how much personal shit do you have to take care of?
You're right.
Really?
You're right.
Yeah, I mean, pretty exciting day for me today. I was back in Wisconsin, so here we go. But let's get into this real quick. And I think this only lasts an hour, guys. I'm sure we'll have our comments, but let's go.
Yeah, as you can see, the podiums are two different sizes because Kamala demanded that her podium be fit to her size so she didn't look small. And my suggestion was Trump should run behind the small one so he looks like a giant.
What the heck? Is that a true statement?
You don't see the size difference in the two podiums?
There's memes on X about this where they have like Kamala like 2 feet tall and Trump.
Wow.
Warhammer character.
Well, I mean, she is short.
Kamala Harris. Let's have a good debate.
You see, have fun.
Thank you. Welcome to you both. It's wonderful to have you. It's an honor to have you both here tonight.
Good evening. We are looking forward to a spirited and thoughtful debate.
So let's get started. I want to begin tonight with the issue that voters repeatedly say is their number one issue, and that is the economy and the cost of living in this country. Vice President Harris, you and President Trump were elected 4 years ago, and your opponent on the stage here tonight
Ah, do you hear that? He said you and President Trump were elected 4 years ago. Holy fuck. He admitted it. Trump won. Trump won. Trump is the president.
Reporters, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? When it comes to the economy, do you believe Americans are better off than they were 4 years ago?
So I was raised as a middle-class kid.
Oh.
And I am actually the only person on this stage who has a plan that is about lifting up
That's a
the middle
fucking
class
lie.
and working people of America. I believe in the
Agreed, Bear
ambition,
Knight.
the aspirations, the dreams of the American people. And that is why I imagine and have actually a plan to build what I call an opportunity economy. Because here's the thing. We know that we have a shortage of homes and housing, and the cost of housing is too expensive for far too many people. We know that young families need support to raise their children, and I intend on extending a tax cut for those families of $6,000, which is the largest child tax credit that we have given in a long time, so that those young families can afford to buy a crib, buy a car seat, buy clothes for their children. My passion, one of them, is small businesses. My mother raised my sister and me,
Jesus
but there was
Christ.
a woman who
Is
helped
she
raise
running
us.
on the
We
Trump
call her
agenda,
our second
Jim?
mother. She was a small business owner. I love our small business.
She's running on the I'm full of shit. I'm going to say what I think I have to win. Did you hear it? The moderator said, you and President Trump were elected 4 years ago?
Yes, we were laughing our ass off.
Yeah, like, holy fuck. Trump won. It's out there for everyone to see.
This is some bullshit, though, man. I just
Yeah,
don't.
My mother was a single mother, and she raised us, so that makes me the winner.
Is she going to start
Mark.
talking like she's from the ghetto in the middle of
I
the...
don't know, but I can't stand that. She should have done something with her mouth.
Dude, I
Sounds like
cannot-
she just got done with Willie Brown.
Yeah.
I got to
Just-
that fucking voice of hers, that high pitched nasal, just want to punch her right in the fucking throat.
Harris, and I'm here to tell you that I'm gonna suck every dick in this county.
That voice drives me out of my mind. And she's gonna do what now? Give $6,000 tax? That's not gonna help anybody buy a house. How about you fucking stop with
If you stop giving people money, the cost of shit will go down.
Stop printing money at the fucking Fed. Because
We're going
this
to go
fucking-
bird.
I mean, these houses are expensive because you fucked it over in COVID, and you fucked it hard for 2 years. You made everything hard to get for so long that it gave everybody a normalcy of what the new fucking pricing should be on shit, Jim.
Yeah.
A fucking yard of concrete, $149. Get the fuck out of here, man. Are you kidding me?
I remember when it was $69. I told everyone they were fucking insane. No one's gonna pay that.
And that was 3 years ago. Now, I mean, to do my fucking building, 30 by 40 building, they wanted $22,000 to put concrete in without rebar, Jim.
Oh no.
They wanted wire mesh and 4-inch concrete for fucking $21,000 or $22,000. They can suck a dick. They're out of control, man. And it's the government's fault for locking people down and stopping trade and stopping business for 2 years that drove all this shit through the roof.
I'm at the point for grocery shopping. I'm about to go down to a local lake and grab some geese. Isn't that what they're doing in Ohio?
Dude,
Cats.
yeah, but
Dude,
but you're in the
Fuck
same you're in the same line checking out with the lady with the EBT card buying steaks and all that other shit and shrimp, and you're
Yeah.
fucking buying top ramen and spam to get fucking by. Fuck
Fucking-
off.
You know it.
So yeah, and then like that. I don't know. They bust a bunch of people in for that. They had a city council meeting. I don't know if you saw the stuff when they canceled the other day when the people were complaining. So they bust a bunch of people in to say, "Oh, it's not bad. We want these people here. We love them."
Yeah.
businesses. My plan is to give a $50,000 tax deduction to startup small businesses, knowing they are part of the backbone of America's economy. My opponent, on the other hand, his plan is to do what he has done before, which is to provide a tax cut for billionaires and big corporations, which will result in $5 trillion to America's deficit. My opponent has a plan that I call the Trump's sales tax, which would be a 20% tax on everyday goods that you rely on to get through the month. Economists have said that Trump sales tax would actually result for middle-class families in about $4,000 more a year because of his policies and his ideas about what should be the backs of middle-class people paying for tax cuts for billionaires.
Did you
President Trump, I'll give you 2 minutes.
I'm sorry. I'm not going
First of all, I have no sales tax.
Pause
That's
it,
an
Jim.
incorrect statement. She
Pause.
knows that.
Sorry. This is what enrages me. He was fucking president for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Then $1.50 for gas to buy some eggs without getting a second. Do you know what I mean? She's making it like he's going to ruin the country.
$69.
He just straight up lied. Trump is going to put a 20% sales tax. What the fuck?
He never did that before.
Okay, sorry.
We're doing tariffs on other countries. Other countries are going to finally, after 75 years, pay us back for all that we've done for the world. And the tariff will be substantial in some cases. I took in billions and billions of dollars, as you know, from China. In fact, they never took the tariff off because there was so much money they can't. It would totally destroy everything that they've set out to do. They're taking in billions of dollars from China and other places. They've left the tariffs on. When I had it, I had tariffs, and yet I had no inflation. Look, we've had a terrible economy because inflation which is really known as a country buster. It breaks up countries. We have inflation like very few people have ever seen before, probably the worst in our nation's history.
Why is she staring at him all
21%, but
creepily?
that's being generous because many things are 50, 60, 70, and 80% higher than they were just a few years ago. This has been a disaster for people, for the middle class, but for every class. On top of that, we have millions of people pouring into our country from prisons and jails, from mental institutions and insane asylums, and they're coming in and they're taking jobs that are occupied right now by African Americans and Hispanics, and also unions. Unions are going to be affected very soon. And you see what's happening. You see what's happening with towns
That
throughout
is
the
no
United
shit.
States. You look at Springfield, Ohio. You look at Aurora in Colorado. They are taking over the towns. They're taking over buildings. They're going in violently. These are the people that Xi and Biden led into our country, and they're destroying our country. They're dangerous. They're at the highest level of criminality, and we have to get them out. We have to get them out fast. I created one of the greatest economies in the history of our country.
Yes, he
I'll do
did.
it again and even
Preach.
better.
We are going to get to immigration and border security during this debate, but I would like to let Vice President Harris respond on the economy here.
Why?
Well, I would love to. Let's talk about what Donald Trump left us. Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment since the Great Depression.
Oh,
Lies.
my
Trump left
God.
us the worst
Lies.
public health epidemic in a century. Donald Trump left us the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War. And what we have done is clean up Donald Trump's mess. What we have done and what I intend to do is build on what we know are the aspirations and the hopes of the American people. But I'm going to tell you all in this debate tonight, you're going to hear from the same old tired playbook, a bunch of lies, grievances, and name-calling. What you're going to hear tonight is a detailed and dangerous
Why
plan
is this
called
the answer
Project
to the question?
2025.
This is not an answer to the question.
It's not. They went over what she's going to say, and she's going to say her talking points that she scripted, that she's been practicing for over 2 weeks now. No matter what's asked, she's going to ask. She's probably got the fucking questions in advance. And they go, oh, this is what you're going to weave into there. So it can't be perfect because it'd be like, oh, well, they gave her the answer. You know what I mean? Like, so
No, but this is her already preempting, saying anything you hear tonight is a lie from Trump. And the question was, what is your response to his economy? And now she's going into, you're going to hear a bunch of tired lies. They're not lies. And he left us with the worst economy.
I don't remember that.
It's a lie. Complete
Almost
lie.
all the jobs were back that got lost by the time Biden came into
that's-
office.
Yes.
Oh, like that's what Democrats do. Like they always like project. Like they always blame the enemy for what they are doing.
Yeah. All right, go ahead.
That the former president intends on implementing if he were elected again. I believe
Again?
very strongly
Again?
that the American people want a president who understands the importance of bringing us together, knowing we have so much more in common than what separates us.
Oh,
and
my
I pledge to
God.
you to be a president for all Americans.
President Trump will give you a minute here to respond.
Number
Thank
one,
you.
I have nothing to do, as you know, and as she knows better than anyone, I have nothing to do with Project 2025. That's out there. I haven't read it. I don't want to read it purposely. I'm not going to read it. This was a group of people that got together. They came up with some ideas, I guess some good, some bad, but it makes no difference. I have nothing to do. Everybody knows I'm an open book. Everybody knows what I'm going to do. Cut taxes very substantially and create a great economy like I did before. We had the greatest economy. We got hit with a pandemic, and the pandemic was not since 1917, where 100 million people died, has there been anything like it. We did a phenomenal job with the pandemic. We handed them over a country where the economy and where the stock market was higher than it was before the pandemic came in. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. We made ventilators for the entire world. We got gowns, we got masks, we did things that nobody thought possible. And people give me credit for rebuilding the military. They give me credit for a lot of things, but not enough credit for the great job we did with the pandemic. But the only jobs they got were bounce back jobs. These were jobs bounced back, and it bounced back and it went to their benefit. But I was the one that created them. They know it, and so does everybody else.
Vice President Harris, I'll let you respond.
So Donald Trump has no plan for you. And when you look at
Oh,
his
doesn't
economic
he?
plan, it's all about tax breaks for the richest people. I am
I
offering
had a
what
pretty
I
good
describe
economy
as an
myself,
opportunity economy.
Yeah.
And the
I mean, what
best
are we talking
economists
about?
in our country, if not the world.
She wants to tax fucking unrealized gains.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
The problem
you
is
mean-
the people who are going to vote for her don't understand this. You know what I mean?
You know what? Well, you know what? Then-
Well,
Well, they don't know what gains are, Julio.
no.
A lot of them.
All this
well,
shit.
these women should know what gain is. They buy it in the fucking grocery store all the time to wash their clothes in it.
She's going to be our first hibbity jibbity president. That's all she's saying.
Hibbity jibbity.
Have reviewed our relative plans for the future of America. What Goldman Sachs has said is that Donald Trump's plan would make the
She never put her plan out. So how the fuck did they review it? Because everyone kept asking for it, and they said, "Oh yeah, we're just gonna. It's gonna be this."
Well,
Didn't she drop it the other day, like in the middle of the night or some shit like that? I don't know. I saw something on Twitter.
economy worst, mine would strengthen the economy. What the Wharton School has said is Donald Trump's plan
the
would
Wharton
actually
School.
explode the deficit.
Oh, my
16
fucking
Nobel
God.
laureates have described
Nobel
his
laureate.
economic plan as something that would increase
We're listening
inflation
to
and by the
fucking
middle
Obama.
of next year
This is Obama
would invite
bullshit.
a recession. You
I
just
wish.
have to look at
Better.
where we are and where we stand on the issues. And I'd invite you to know that Donald Trump actually has no plan for you because he is more interested in defending himself than he is in looking out for you.
It's just a soundbite. They gave her that to say. Look, I went to the Wharton School of Finance, and many of those professors, the top professors, think my plan is a brilliant plan. It's a great plan. It's a plan that's going to bring up our worth, our value as a country. It's going to make people want to be able to go and work and create jobs and create a lot of good, solid money for our country. And just to finish off, she doesn't have a plan. She copied Biden's plan, and it's like 4 sentences, like run, spot, run. 4 sentences that are just, we'll try and lower taxes. She doesn't have a plan. Take a look at her plan. She doesn't have a plan.
Mr. President, I do want to drill down on something you both brought up. The Vice President brought up your tariffs. You responded, and let's drill down on this because your plan is what she calls is essentially a national sales tax. Your proposal calls for tariffs, as you pointed out here, on foreign imports across the board. You recently said that you might double your plan, imposing tariffs up to 20% on goods coming into this country. As you know, many economists say that with tariffs at that level, costs are then passed on to the consumer. Vice President Harris has argued it'll mean higher prices on gas, food, clothing, medication, arguing it costs the typical family nearly $4,000.
Why would it cost us more in gas when we drill for our own fucking oil here?
Or
Again, he was already president.
we make
Yeah.
our own fucking medication here, dude.
Oh, make the shit here.
That's the protected shit, you dummy.
Drill, baby, drill.
Drill. He did. He had so many fucking millions of gallons in reserve, it wasn't funny, dude.
It's drill, baby, drill against run, spot, run.
Ugh.
You can have that.
$1,000 a year. Do you believe Americans can afford higher prices because of tariffs?
They're not going to have higher prices. What's
Thank
going to
you.
have and who's going to have higher prices is China and all of the countries that have been ripping us off for years. I was the only president ever. China was paying us hundreds of billions of dollars, and so were other countries. And, you know, if she doesn't like them, they should have gone out and they should have immediately cut the tariffs. But those tariffs are there 3.5 years now under their administration. We are going to take in billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars. I had no inflation, virtually no inflation. They had the highest inflation perhaps in the history of our country because I've never seen a worse period of time. People can't go out and buy cereal or bacon or eggs or anything else.
Oh.
The people of our country are absolutely
I'm so
dying
pissed
with what
now when I
they've
go to
done.
McDonald's.
They've destroyed the economy. And all you have to do is look at a poll.
When McDonald's
The polls
cost me
say
$20,
80 and
I'm
85
pissed.
and even 90% that the Trump economy was great, that their economy was terrible.
Vice President Harris, I do want to ask for your response, and you heard what the president said there, because the Biden administration did keep a number of the Trump tariffs in place. So how do you respond?
Well, let's be clear that the Trump administration resulted in a trade deficit, one of the highest we've ever seen in the history of America.
Not answering the question.
He invited
Answer
trade
the
wars.
question.
You want to talk about
She
his
doesn't want
deal
to.
with China? What he ended up doing is under Donald Trump's presidency, he ended up selling American chips to China to help them improve and modernize their military, basically sold us out when a policy about China should be
Really?
in making sure the United States of America wins the competition for the 21st century, which means focusing on the details of what that requires.
I can't wait for this
focusing
response.
on relationships with our allies, focusing on investing in American-based technology so that we win the race on AI, on quantum computing, focusing on what we need to do to support America's workforce so that we don't end up having on the short end of the stick in terms of workers' rights. But what Donald Trump did, let's talk about this, with COVID, is he actually thanked President Xi for what he did during COVID. Look at his tweet. Thank you, President Xi, exclamation point, when we know that Xi was responsible for lacking and not giving us transparency about the origins of COVID.
President Trump, I'll let you respond.
First of all, they bought their chips from Taiwan. We hardly make chips anymore because of philosophies like they have and policies like they have. I don't say her because she has no policy. Everything that she believed 3 years ago and 4 years ago is out the window. She's going to my philosophy now. In fact, I was going to send her a MAGA hat. She's gone to my philosophy. But if she ever got elected, she'd change it. And it will be the end of our country. She's a Marxist. Everybody knows she's a Marxist. Her father's a Marxist professor in economics, and he taught her well. But when you look at what she's done to our country, and when you look at these millions and millions of people that are pouring into our country monthly, where it's, I believe, 21 million people, not the 15 that people say, and I think it's a lot higher than the 21. That's bigger than New York State pouring in. And just look at what they're doing to our country. They're criminals. Many of these people coming in are criminals. And that's bad for our economy, too. You know, you mentioned before, we'll talk about immigration later. Well, bad immigration is the worst thing that can happen to our economy. They have, and she has, destroyed our country with policy that's insane. Almost policy that you'd say they have to hate our country.
President Trump, thank you. Lindsay?
I want to turn to the issue of abortion. President Trump, you've often touted that you were able to kill Roe v. Wade. Last year, you said that you were proud to be the most pro-life president in American history. Then last month, you said that your administration would be great for women and their reproductive rights. In your home state of Florida, you surprised many with regard to your 6-week abortion ban because you initially had said that it was too short. And you said, quote, I'm going to be voting that we need more than 6 weeks. But then the very next day, you reversed reversed course and said you would vote to support the 6-week ban. Vice President Harris says that women shouldn't trust you on the issue of abortion because you've changed your position so many times. Therefore, why should they trust you?
The reason I'm doing that vote is because the plan is, as you know, the vote is they have.
Pond.
The fucking issue's over. It's up to the states now. Okay? Somebody's got to bring another lawsuit federally, and the Supreme Court has to change their opinion. That ain't happening for a long time. Okay? So, or if it does, they might not hear the case. They're tired of talking about it. So
I always thought slaughtering unborn children was a weird hill to die on. But I think the Republicans need to chill out on that because it doesn't help them for them to come on and all of a sudden they just need to, okay, it's a state decision now. It's over.
Okay, we're talking about the party that fought a war to protect slavery.
Yeah, we're talking about the party that thinks a woman's reproductive right is to kill another living thing. That's not a reproductive right. That's
everybody should have control over their own body, right? Unless you're a 7 month old.
You're killing something inside your body.
I mean, it's a little weird, but whatever.
Is. But it's a completely separate body. It's a completely separate DNA. It's a completely separate person. I mean, I am pro-life, but I don't think all abortion should be outlawed because, you know, hey, you know, if it's like super early, they have these pills now that have existed. I mean, there's been abortifacient products that have been used for centuries, teas and different things. You know, so you can't outlaw it. You know,
I think the way Trump set it up is the right way. Let the states.
Well, it always was a state right till 1970s when the fucking Supreme Court fucked it up.
You know, if
they're the ones that made it federal, it was always a state right.
I blame the hippies.
The hibbity jibbity hippies. Yes.
It should be once the baby could possibly survive on its own, there's no way in fucking hell they should be able to kill it.
Agreed.
Yeah, the Tim Pool rule.
Well, no, I'm saying and that date keeps moving forward and forward.
Yeah.
You know, if they could take the baby out, stick it in an incubator, and it survives, or a alternative something, that's it. End of fucking story. You know, I mean, these things that they're trying to pass, like even in Florida, they're trying to put a fucking amendment to the Florida Constitution to say that abortion is a right up to birth.
Yeah.
They're trying to do it in Florida?
Yeah. The fucking amendment to protect it is actually, you can't do anything that all the way up until birth. So I don't know, but they're counting on people being stupid and not reading it, and they write the thing so confusing because they do whenever they do the shit, it's so fucking confusing. They use double negatives.
Oh yeah.
It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Vote for proposition such and such when they really don't want you to vote for it. I mean, they do it. Yeah, they reverse psych people out all the time.
Hopefully Trump will respond to this exactly with we put it back in the hands of the states, and I think that's good. Period.
Yeah.
Done.
It's over.
It's enough.
And I hate that the media thinks that this needs to come up all the time. Stop with the abortion topic. Stop. Just stop. I mean, you're talking to 5% of the voting people out there, the women. Okay, that's it.
Well, women take this very seriously, though. They think it's a man up there taking away their right to kill their baby, which is a weird. I
don't know the women you know.
I have 4 kids. It's fucking insane to me to think that anybody wouldn't want to have children. It's
right.
The most beautiful thing in the world.
Right.
Here's the thing. It's completely skewed by single women who have no kids, who have had abortions. That's who is strongly in favor of this, because they don't think, once a woman has a child, their opinion on this drastically changes.
Oh, you mean like a fucking lefty till he gets a job and has a family, and then his whole political take changes because he sees 40% of his money goes to his neighbors who don't have a job, and it really pisses him off. He goes, "What the fuck am I paying for? I'm out here working every day. This guy stays home every day. He's driving a nicer car than me."
But now they're trying to push a narrative where 40, 45, 50-year-old women are on TikTok, Instagram going, "I'm so free. I'm having a glass of wine. I don't have any kids." And I'm like, trust me, you're missing out on things.
Here's the thing I don't think anyone wants to acknowledge is men's testosterone levels are dropping. Women are being fucked up by all the stuff that's in our food and everything. We are
And
we-
people are also getting fucked up what they're fed on TikTok, Jim.
correct.
That is
But-
killing mental fucking strength for people.
But as far as reproduction is going to be a problem.
It is a problem everywhere on the planet right now. Every
Look at
planet is
Japan.
not every country is not sustaining their fucking their population to keep their
No.
economy growing.
Certain people aren't sustaining their population, and other people are making up for it.
And almost any country outside of South America, Africa, India, China, stuff like that, if you look, any developed world is not reproducing their native population. It's just a fact. I don't know why.
Yeah.
They're not.
Well, because they're all on fucking Tinder, dude. They don't get into relationships. They're swiping right and left and walking away. There's no true relationships. I mean, I was thinking about this driving down the road today. Are those red pill channels still popular? Are people still watching that shit?
Like I think it's kind of dwindling down.
Because it's garbage content.
Yeah, yeah, because like I don't think a lot of people are having hookups like at all these days. You know,
If they are, they're not very personal. They're just a swipe left and they meet or swipe right and they meet somewhere and then they go on their merry way. It's fucking disgusting.
I think that's an interesting conversation to have as to why good people don't want to have babies anymore. That's like a huge, but there's so many factors that go into that. You know, money, getting raised and being a child of divorce and seeing how that fucks you up, how your dad just got fucked over. Do I want to go through? It's so many things that go into that.
Yeah. Red Scorpion, I specifically said not including Africa and undeveloped parts of the world. I said basically all the developed world.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the
He
city
was
on
talking to me.
Oh,
Talking to me because I said the whole planet. I'm the one who said every country. So
it's not just
Well,
it's not just the whites though that are having a problem. You look at Japan, you look at South Korea,
China.
you look at China's having a problem because they did the whole one child thing and
well,
now they don't
they're
have
having
enough
a
women.
huge problem, dude.
They don't. They're gonna have a crash because they don't have enough women.
Right. They're done. It's
they
like
don't have
life-
enough people to work is the problem. So the
Open
homogenous
borders, baby. Open borders.
correct, and they're going to start right.
They can't, dude. If they do,
No.
it's over. It's over. Those they don't play that shit over there, dude.
All right,
We'll
let's
see.
see if Trump.
They're
can,
slaves. They're not citizens.
Let's see if Trump gives a good answer here.
You've changed your position so many times. Therefore, why should they trust you?
Well, the reason I'm doing that vote is because the plan is, as you know, the vote is, they have abortion in the 9th month. They even have, and you can look at the governor of West Virginia, the previous governor of West Virginia, not the current governor, who's doing an excellent job, but the governor before, he said the baby will be born and we will decide what to do with the baby. In other words, we'll execute the baby. And that's why I did that, because that predominates, because they're radical. The Democrats.
That was actually the governor of North Carolina, Ralph Northam, I believe.
No, it was West Virginia too. Yeah, it was West Virginia. Virginia. It was Virginia.
Maybe Virginia. Yeah, because
It was
West
Virginia.
Virginia's been in Republican hands for quite a while.
It was Virginia. He meant Virginia.
Are radical in that, and her vice presidential pick, which I think was a horrible pick, by the way, for our country, because he is really out of it. But her vice presidential pick says abortion in the 9th month is absolutely fine. He also says execution after birth. It's execution, no longer abortion, because the baby is born, is okay. And that's not okay with me, hence the vote. But what I did is something for 52 years. They've been trying to get Roe v. Wade into the states. And through the genius and heart and strength of 6 Supreme Court justices, we were able to do that. Now, I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother. I believe strongly in it. Ronald Reagan did also. 85% of Republicans do. exceptions, very important. But we were able to get it, and now states are voting on it. And for the first time, you're going to see, look, this is an issue that's torn our country apart for 52 years. Every legal scholar, every Democrat, every Republican, liberal, conservative, they all wanted this issue to be brought back to the states where the people could vote. And that's what happened. Now, Ohio, the vote was somewhat liberal. Kansas, the vote was somewhat liberal, much more liberal than people would have thought. But each individual state is voting. It's the vote of the people now. It's not tied up in the federal government. I did a great service in doing it. It took courage to do it. And the Supreme Court had great courage in doing it. And I give tremendous credit to those 6 justices.
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born. Madam Vice President, I want to get your response to President Trump.
Well, as I said,
No
you're a bunch of
state?
lies, and that's not actually a surprising fact.
Pardon me, Jim.
Pause,
That's not
pause.
her job to make that fucking statement.
Right.
Stop. That's not her job. That's Kamala's job to make that statement.
Yep.
And just because it ain't legal, don't mean it ain't happening, motherfucker. All
Yeah,
right.
there's a guy named Gosnell who went to fucking prison for doing it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And
They made a whole
Northrup-
movie out of it.
And the guy from Virginia did say, if the baby's born and we see it's got a mental problem, we have the right to kill it. That's what
What
he
they do
fucking
is they
said.
call it a botched abortion, and they let the baby just sit there and die.
Yeah, they
And
just die.
They
Yeah.
do it in California and in Illinois and New York.
Trump
so it's just
leaned
full of
in.
shit.
Trump
Right.
leaned into that left hook, though. I think
Yeah.
he should have just kept it simple. But you're right, Dave. I agree. Like, who's this broad? She's not in the debate. Shut the fuck up. Ask questions.
I think Trump answered that question perfectly. We gave
Yeah.
it back to the states. The states voted a little bit more liberal than we thought they would in Kansas and Ohio. But you know what? It's the states that are voting for it. So let them have their rights as states. I don't need the federal government to make up my life when I live in a state. I don't live in a federal government. I live under my state first. Right, Jim? I mean, that's how we were taught in school.
That's why
federal-
we that's why we have the freedom to like the freedom of movement. You
Right.
know, I mean, if you live in the state and you don't like the laws there, then then just move.
Right, you want to kill your baby? Just drive a few hours. You're good.
Oh, well, just don't do it in my fucking state because I don't want it in my state. Right. I mean, that's not hypocrisy, dude. That's in other states could actually be dicks and check licenses and say, well, you're not from this state. Why would I do it? It's illegal in your state. I mean, boy, if it got to that, then there would be some real shit, Jim.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Go ahead.
Let's understand how we got here. Donald Trump hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade.
They're not
And they
protections.
did exactly as he intended. And now in over 20 states, there are Trump abortion bans, which make it criminal for a doctor or nurse to provide health care. In one state, it provides prison for life. Trump abortion bans that make no exception even for rape and incest, which understand what that means.
That's not
A
20
survivor
states. That's
of a
Oklahoma.
crime of
That's like
violation
Oklahoma.
to
They're
their
so
body
hardcore on this
does
shit.
not have the right to make a decision about what happens to their body next. That is
not a-
immoral.
What's
not a
up,
Trump
nuclear?
One does not have to abandon
who's
their
back.
faith or
Hey, there he
deeply
is.
held beliefs
What's up,
to
buddy?
agree. The government, and Donald Trump certainly, should not be telling a woman what to do with her body. I have talked with women
That's not what's
around
happening
our
here.
country. You want to talk about this is what people wanted? Pregnant women who want to carry a pregnancy to term, suffering from a miscarriage, being denied care in an emergency room because the healthcare providers are afraid they might go to jail, and she's
Never
bleeding out in a car in a
Projection
parking lot.
overload.
She didn't want that. Her husband didn't want that. A 12 or 13-year-old survivor of incest being forced to carry a pregnancy to term. They don't want that. And I pledge to you, when Congress passes a bill to put back in place the protections of Roe v. Wade, as President of the United States, I will proudly sign it into law. But understand, if Donald Trump were to be reelected, he will sign a national abortion ban. Understand, in his Project 2025, there would be a national abortion, a monitor that would be monitoring your pregnancies, your miscarriages. I think the American people believe that certain freedoms, in
Oh.
particular the freedom to make decisions about one's own body, should not be made by the
I want to
government.
fucking
Thank you,
throw
Vice
up right
President
now.
Harris.
Well, there she goes again. It's a lie. I'm not signing a ban, and there's no reason to sign a ban because we've gotten what everybody wanted. Democrats, Republicans, and everybody else, and every legal scholar wanted it to be brought back into the states. And the states are voting. And it may take a little time, but for 52 years, this issue has torn our country apart, and they've wanted it back in the states. And I did something that nobody thought was possible. The states are now voting. What she says is an absolute lie. And as far as the abortion ban, no, I'm not in favor of abortion ban, but it doesn't matter because this issue has now been taken over by the states.
Would you veto a national abortion ban if it came
Well,
to
I
your
won't
desk?
have to because, again, two things. Number one, she said she'll go back to Congress. She'll never get the vote. It's impossible for her to get the vote, especially now with the 50-50 and essentially 50-50 in both Senate and the House. She's not going to get the vote. She can't get the vote. She won't even come close to it. So it's just talk. You know what it reminds me of when they said they're going to get student loans terminated, and it ended up being a total catastrophe. The student loans, and then her, I think probably her boss, if you call him a boss, he spends all his time on the beach. But look, her boss went out and said, we'll do it again. We'll do it a different way. And he went out, got rejected again by the Supreme Court. So all these students got taunted with this whole thing about this whole idea and how unfair that would have been. Part of the reason they lost to the millions and millions of people that had to pay off their student loans. They didn't get it for free. But they were saying it's the same way that they talked about that they talk about abortion.
But if I could just get a yes or no, because your running mate, J.D. Vance, has said that you would veto it if it did come to your desk.
Well, I didn't discuss it with J.D. In all fairness, J.D., and I don't mind if he has a certain view, but I think he was speaking for me, but I really didn't. Look, we don't have to discuss it because she'd never be able to get it, just like she couldn't get student loans. They couldn't get student loans. They didn't even come close to getting student loans.
It's
they
not even a
taunted
thing.
young people
Jim,
and a lot
Say
of
you'd
other people
veto
that
it.
had
That's
loans.
all. Just say I
They
veto
can
it.
never
I
get
don't
this
believe.
approved.
It's in
It
the states.
doesn't matter what she says about going
But-
to Congress. So wonderful. Let's go to
But
Congress.
Jim,
Do it.
the point is, he's right.
Yeah, but he needs to shut the fuck up.
He's talking like it's stuff, and so now they're saying he wouldn't just say. So you just say, "Yeah, I'd veto it." Why? There doesn't need to be a national ban.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Should have said, am I debating you now? That would have
I
been
don't
a
know,
good-
man. I just think that he's trying to make the point that it's out of our hands. That's the point. I don't have to ever veto this thing again. If there's the Congress and the Senate are not going to be able to make a bill to take it back over without it not passing through the fucking Supreme Court because they'll get sued the day he signed something, dude.
But we understand that. The people.
He's afraid because he's been attacked by the fucking crazy fucks, the religious crazy fucks. And I'm sorry, but there's some religious crazy fucks.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, we can't vote for Trump, like the fucking the people that want a complete and total ban. That and
That's there. Well, yeah. I mean, like,
be mad because if he loses, guess what? They're gonna fucking ram through something. They're gonna pack the Supreme Court, or they're gonna ram through. They'll get rid of the filibuster, and they'll ram through a law saying it's legal up till birth, and then I guess whatever.
Or worse, they're going to expand the Supreme Court like they keep threatening to do.
Yeah,
yeah.
Which is ridiculous. I mean,
they'll put some more people that don't know what a woman is on the court, and then what are you going to do?
What I would love the next president to do, whether it's whoever it is, Jim, is they say we're going back to the actual representation number that our fucking original country was under. Was every 30,000 people gets a representative in government? I think we need to go back to that. I hope I'm wishing there's fucking 14,000 motherfuckers up there every day fighting over this shit, because then you know what happens, Jim? Nothing. There's not enough votes ever for anything to pass because it's all a fucking stalemate. But we're underrepresented. We are simply underrepresented as individuals in our Congress. The Senate's always been what it is, right? But the Senate is also a different thing than it was actually started out to be, right, Jim? The Senate
was supposed to be. Senate is just supposed to represent the states and the states' interests. It was supposed to be picked by the state legislature to, they're representatives of the state.
Yeah, they're not elected officials by the
well, they're not
population.
supposed to be popular vote officials by the people. We have that. That's the Congress.
Right. So the senators were 2 people from every state were representing, and they weren't elected. But they changed that, and they never it's like they don't want to remodel the fucking floor of the House because there's enough seats for the people that are there, and that's it. No, fuck that, dude. We're 300 million people. We're not a million anymore. We need our representation.
Think of it this way, Dave. If there was 14,000 Congress people, how would they get paid off? You know, it'd be impossible to bribe them and pay them off and all this stuff because there's too many.
You know what it would be? It would be what it was when it originally started. A fucking job they do for 2 or 3 months a year, and then go back to their home and go farm their land or go run their fucking general store or whatever they're doing. And they're talking to their citizens as they come in and, you know, shop or whatever at their fucking place of business or whatever they're doing.
Well, within the context of this debate, I would say Trump is over talking at this point.
Maybe.
In my opinion.
I know what you're saying, but he's trying to also tell a bunch of leftists, look, man, we made this to where the state that you live in is making the decision. Why do we need the federal government to make these decisions for you when you live at a state that you have more power than you do on a federal fucking level?
The leftists are driven by emotion, not logic.
I totally agree. But like Andrew said, if I live in Oklahoma and they want to make every part of abortion illegal, and I can go to fucking Texas or I can go north, you know, to Iowa or Nebraska, I'm going to go there, right? I'm going somewhere else if I think that's important to me, Jim.
Yeah.
If I think it's a thing that matters that much in my life, but if it's not a thing that matters that much in my life, then it's just another thing that people fight about. I feel like Kamala has an earpiece.
Possible.
We don't see her ears. You know, she probably does.
Yeah. They aren't crazy. They're grifters. He removed their pet issue, the thing they make money on, and you see who they really serve. They would rather lose and still be able to monetize 1,000%, man. When they took the abortion, when Trump took the abortion thing off the table as a federal thing, Jim, it's not something presidents should be fighting over anymore. It's what senators, or not senators, but yeah, senators and Congress people and governors should be fighting over.
No, it shouldn't be in the federal government at all. It should be the states.
Right. Just like speed limits. That's part of the state.
Should be the states.
Yeah. Whatever. Nuclear, I sent you the link if you want to join, buddy.
But the fact is that for years they wanted to get it out of Congress and out of the federal government, and we did something that everybody said couldn't be done. And now you have a vote of the people on abortion.
Vice President Harris, want to give you your time to respond, but I do want to ask, would you support any restrictions on a woman's right to an abortion?
I absolutely support reinstating the protections of Roe v. Wade. And as you rightly mentioned,
Jim?
Nowhere in America is a woman carrying a pregnancy to term and asking for an abortion. That is not happening. It's insulting to the women of America. And understand what has been happening under Donald Trump's abortion bans. Couples who pray and dream of having a family are being denied IVF treatments. What is happening in our country?
The sob story.
Working people, working women.
What does that have to do with abortion, IVF treatments?
Jobs, who can barely afford childcare as it is, have to travel to another state to get on a plane to strangers to go and get the health care she needs. Barely can afford to do it, and what you are putting her through is unconscionable. And the people of America have not, the majority of Americans believe in a woman's right to make decisions about her own body.
Listen to my sob story. That's how I make my argument with a bunch of sob stories.
But he's getting spanked here.
Why?
I'm not looking at it from my standpoint. I'm looking at it from, I don't know. She's doing a good job here.
You think so?
I do. No, I don't agree with her, but I think she's doing a good job in the context.
The fact that they're focusing on abortion for the past 15 fucking minutes is a travesty to this fucking country.
Mm-hmm. Right. I still don't understand how she can be doing a good job when Trump didn't make the lawsuit happen. States
People
made
don't
the
understand that, Dave.
No,
People who are voting for Kamala don't get that.
I agree. I mean, I agree, but don't tell me. I'm not. This is my black and white brain. I'm not looking at it from the artist perspective. This fuzzy wuzzy bullshit. I just think that, you know what? This is the law now. Why don't they talk about stupid school zone speed limits? It's more important to me than fucking this bullshit, because I don't control this anymore. Oh, just like the federal government doesn't control school speed limits. This is out of our hands. Kamala, debate host people, get off the abortion issue. It's out of the federal government's hand. Let's talk about fucking other stuff that they actually have control over now. They have no control over this. This issue is out of their fucking hands. Stop trying to make fucking Planned Parenthood a relevant thing again. It's fucking not. In a lot of states, Jim, it's gone away. Fuck these people. I get what you're saying, Julio, but you know what, man? Like Jim said, and even you said, when you have the baby, you don't want to kill babies anymore.
Correct. True.
Okay. So if you had the fucking baby because you fucked up at a party one night, that's your fucking problem, baby. I'm sorry. That's your problem. It's not my problem when I'm supporting Planned Parenthood as a taxpayer to abort a child that I might have adopted. Right? Okay. There's better options. There's
more important. I wish they would get onto some other points.
Right. There's 3 states of populations. There's 3 states of populations that they've killed in 52 years. You think about how many babies these motherfuckers killed in the last 52 years legally under Roe v. Wade, under their fucking protections, that could have prevented all this illegal immigration because the babies were being born and people were in our world, but they're not here. They're dead. They'll never be back. So fuck these people. Fuck them.
And that is why in every state where this issue has been on the ballot, in red and blue states both, the people
I have no idea how many orphans live in the U.S.
freedom.
right now.
Vice President Harris.
I know that we got a huge homeless problem in America.
It's another lie. I have been a leader on IVF, which is fertilization. The IVF, I have been a leader. In fact, when they got a very negative decision on IVF from the Alabama courts, I saw the people of Alabama and the legislature 2 days later voted it in. I've been a leader on it. They know that, and everybody else knows it. I have been a leader on fertilization, IVF. And the other thing,
I don't understand, Jim, what abortion has to do with fertilization. It's the opposite argument at this point, isn't it, Julio?
Okay, would you do that? Why don't you ask her that question?
Why don't you answer the question? Would
She
you
doesn't know what she's talking about.
answer the question? Would you veto?
You could do abortions in the 7th month, the 8th month, the 9th month.
Not true.
And
It is true in states.
What? Something I noticed that when one is talking, isn't one's mic supposed to be muted?
Supposed to be, but it's
That's right,
not.
Scorpion.
I wonder. And it's Kamala's that's not muted.
Yeah.
Scorpion's chat is on point. That was well said and much more succinct than I said it. Yep.
Yeah, that was a problem, Red Scorpion. That 19th Amendment fucking screwed us over, dude. No, they need IVF so they can off babies until they are ready. What?
Yeah, they get the baby, they get the IVF and stuff, and then they have it ready to go with the embryos, and then when they get to be in their 40s, they can have a baby.
Why would Trump be against that?
He's not.
He's not.
What he's saying is they need IVF so that
that seems like a pro-life stance to me, not a pro-choice stance.
The pro-life people are against it because they create a whole bunch of embryos and then they just throw the ones away that.
Is this like the stem cell shit that Bush got attacked for back in the day?
Well, the stem cell stuff was different. They're still doing it. They take the aborted babies and they take the stem cells from the aborted babies and they sell big money.
I understand. I know. I mean, like that market probably crashed under this fucking this states' right thing too.
I'm not sure. I don't know. I mean, it's.
Yeah, and Red
Probably
Scorpion's
after
right. They
birth.
can't move on about the abortion issue because that's the only thing Kamala has to attack Trump on. Everything else shows how much better the country was under Trump. That's a good point, Red Scorpion.
You know, and the people she's like, oh, to protect the Roe v. Wade protected abortion up until the third trimester. Like basically no restrictions can be placed on it. It didn't place any restrictions on abortion. So states like Illinois and California and New York had abortion up until birth and still do.
Yep.
Just look at the former governor of Virginia. The governor of Virginia said we put the baby aside and then we determine what we want to do with the baby.
President Trump, thank you.
We're going to turn now to
It's a
immigration
fact.
and border security. We
His
know
own
it's an issue
words.
that's important to Republicans, Democrats, voters across the board in this country. Vice President Harris, you were tasked by President Biden with getting to the root causes of migration from Central America. We know that illegal border crossings reached a record high in the Biden administration. This past June, President Biden imposed tough new asylum restrictions. We know the numbers since then have dropped significantly. But my question to you tonight is why did the administration wait until 6 months before the election to act? And would you have done anything differently from President Biden on this?
So I'm the only person on this stage who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations for the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings. And
She's
let
also
me say,
the only guy.
the
She's also
United
the only
States
person on this
Congress.
panel that sucked a dick to get a job for this.
She's also the only person on that stage that kept people in jail after they were ordered released because she wanted to use them as slave labor to fight fires in California.
Exactly.
She's also the only person that locked up parents because their kids were truant to school. She's also the only person that fucking locked up tons of people for fucking weed and then laughed about smoking weed when she was in college.
Yep.
But she also mentioned that she kept guns, out, from the immigration. Then why there are a bunch of Venezuelan gangs, taking over apartments with guns.
The 19th Amendment isn't the problem per se. It's the lack of responsibility women have. Like men, we have a selective service mandate. Women don't. That was removed because it was unpopular with women. Right. Yeah. That's why, look, people know my take on voting. No women should vote and property owners should vote. Other than that, shut the fuck up. Now, Julio, you could vote because you're a male.
Okay.
That's it. And women just don't pay attention enough, dude. They don't. They
They have
don't.
different priorities.
Right. They just don't they just don't pay attention. Only reason, look, more women got into politics when Trump ran than I've ever seen in my life. It was unbelievable. My wife, in 24 years of marriage at that point, never gave two shits about politics. Trump said he's running. That day he came down the escalator. My wife's like, well, he's pretty cool. Now she sends me shit. I'm like, stop with the fucking politics. I'm done.
My second wife voted Democrat her whole life, big Obama person. And when we were married, she voted Trump with me.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? Like,
I don't know. I mean, she made her own decision. I didn't tell her.
no, I get it, but there's a special thing that Trump does have. That's why I'll never believe Biden won, ever. I will never, ever believe he won that vote. Okay, this is why I am very frustrated with the lack of laws that have been reversed, Jim, since that election to make it harder. I don't care what fucking asshole from Facebook says. I don't care about any of that stuff. They're still going to find a way to cheat, and there's not enough people in place putting laws in places in states where this shit was fucked up in the first place, Jim. It should be 1 day of voting, the day the election is. Mail-in ballots are military. Other than that, the vote's it. That's it. You don't get to send in your ballots 30 days early. You don't have drop boxes for a month before the election starts. All this weird stuff that is not an election, Jim. It's just not at that point.
You guys heard about the like there was like some sort of bill that is like trying to be passed, and I can't remember if it was the House or if it was the Senate, where the Republicans are like, we're not going to let this pass, until this bill deals with the issue of non-citizens voting. And the Democrats are like, no, we want this. We want illegals to vote. That is part of our cheating.
Yeah, well, Jim, I think elections are pretty easy. Like they don't let you vote in high school for the class president for a year before the fucking actual vote gets counted, right? So it's so stupid. Go ahead, buddy. Go ahead, Jim.
Including some of the most conservative members of the United States Senate, came up with a border security bill, which I supported. And that bill would have put 1,500 more border agents on the border to help those folks who are working there.
1,500 border agents. Didn't they just hire 80,000 more fucking IRS agents to come after all us?
Yeah, she just triggered me with the folks word because that is an Obama word. And every time Obama said folks, I wanted to punch him in the fucking face.
She's also dropped a y'all.
The folks
got a hot sauce person.
like that.
Hot sauce.
God damn, that folks thing with Obama drove me nuts. Like it was humility. Like the folk. Fuck you. Fuck off, dude. I hate it, dude. I just fucking hate it. Trump knows who he is. He's a billionaire. He knows it. Like he's not apologizing for it, but he can still relate to the working guy on a level because he hired a ton of them throughout his whole career. He hired a bunch of people to build these buildings. He had to talk to these general contractors every fucking day, Jim, for years to get these buildings done. So he knows what the American worker wants, why they fucking get mad about shit. It's crazy. Folks.
Crazy.
The fucking folks word fucking triggers me every time. Go ahead, Jim.
There right now, overtime, trying to do their job. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl coming into the United States. I know there are so many families watching tonight who have been personally affected by the surge of fentanyl in our country. That bill would have put more resources to allow us to prosecute transnational criminal organizations for trafficking in guns, drugs, and human beings. But you know what happened to that bill? Donald Trump got on the phone, called up some folks in Congress and said, kill the bill. And you know why? Because he'd prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And understand, this comes at a time where the people of our country actually need a leader who engages in solutions, who actually addresses the problems at hand. But what we have in the former president is someone who would prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And I'll tell you something, he's going to talk about immigration a lot tonight, even when it's not the subject that is being raised. And I'm going to actually do something really unusual, and I'm going to invite you to attend one of Donald Trump's rallies, because it's a really interesting thing to watch. You will see during the course of his rallies, he talks about fictional characters like Hannibal Lecter. He will talk about windmills cause cancer. And what you will also notice is that people start leaving his rallies early out of exhaustion and boredom.
Pause.
And I will tell you, the one thing you will not hear him talk about is you.
Pause.
You will not hear him talk.
Like does anybody remember from Bruce Almighty when Jim Carrey messes with his rivals teleprompter?
I don't know. I didn't see it.
Oh, you didn't see it?
Kevin, Trump, you think Trump is getting murdered in this debate?
I think he's watching. He says it gets so much worse. I don't know. I mean, we're about 45 minutes behind.
It gets so much worse for Trump?
Well, yeah, I've been seeing some stuff. I guess the moderators, he's like basically debating three people.
Oh, like a typical Trump debate. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Talk about your needs, your dreams, and your desires. And I'll tell you, I believe you deserve a president who actually puts you first, and I pledge to you that I will.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump, on that point, I want to get your response.
Well, I would like to respond.
Let me just ask, though, why did you try to kill that bill, and successfully so, that would have put thousands of additional agents and officers on the border?
First, let me respond as to the
Please.
rallies.
She said people start leaving. People don't go to her rallies. There's no reason to go. And the people that do go, she's bussing them in and paying them to be there, and then showing them in a different light.
Yeah,
So
who gives a
she
shit?
can't talk about that. People don't leave my rallies. We have the biggest rallies, the most incredible rallies in the history of politics. That's because people want to take their country back. Our country is being lost. We're a failing nation. And it happened 3.5 years ago. And what's going on here, you're going to end up in World War III, just to go into another subject. What they have done to our country by allowing these millions and millions of people to come into our country, and look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country, and it's a shame. As far as rallies are concerned, as far as the reason they go is they like what I say. They want to bring our country back. They want to make America great again. It's a very simple phrase, make America great again. She's destroying this country, and if she becomes president, this country doesn't have a chance of success. Not only success, we'll end up being Venezuela on steroids.
I just want to clarify here. You bring up Springfield, Ohio, and ABC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there have been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals within the immigrant community.
I've seen people on television.
Let me just say here, this is the
people on television say my dog was taken and used for food. So maybe he said that, and maybe that's a good thing to say for a city manager.
I'm not taking this from
but
television.
The people
I'm
on
taking it from
television
the city
saying
manager.
their dog was eaten by the people that went there.
Oh boy.
Again, the Springfield city manager says there's no evidence of that. Vice President Harris, I'll let you respond to the rest of what you've heard.
You talk about extreme. You know, this is, I think, one of the reasons why in this election I actually have the endorsement of 200 Republicans who have formally worked with President Bush, Mitt Romney, and John McCain, including the endorsement of former Vice President Dick Cheney and Congress member Liz Cheney.
Oh,
And
that makes
if
me
you
feel
wanna
better,
really
Jim.
know the
Warmongers.
inside
More
track on
warmongers.
who the former president is, if he didn't make it clear already, just ask people who have worked with him. His former chief of staff, a four-star general, has said he has contempt for the Constitution of the United States. His former national security advisor has said he is dangerous and unfit. His former Secretary of Defense has said the nation, the Republic, would never survive another Trump term. And when we listen to this kind of rhetoric, when the issues that affect the American people are not being addressed, I think the choice is clear in this election.
Wait
President
a minute,
Trump
though,
will give you
Jim.
a quick
Pause
minute
it.
to respond.
Jim, pause it. Jim, pause it. How has our fucking individual, been addressed like under Biden? I'm so I'm so much more poor now, 3.5 years after Trump left, Julio, than I was when he was here.
I agree, but I'm going to be objective here. So far, this should be a heavyweight against a lightweight.
Okay.
This is not going well for him. He's talking about people eating dogs. I'm just saying it may be true.
No, I agree. But he's not going to lose. He's not going to lose his voters. He's not going to lose his voters.
They just released audio of police calls of people calling about their fucking pets being stolen. So it's happening.
I am sure it is. But it's
right.
But
it's not a debate topic.
This was a setup.
Right.
He should have not done the debate. He should have said, "Go fuck yourself. I'm not debating you."
Right.
Is what he should have did, because they're stacking everything and he's fighting three people and they're backing her up in every way. And I don't know if you've noticed, but she's spoken about twice as long as Trump has.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. Yeah. And they keep going back to her twice when they go back to but is he gaining voters?
No.
That's the thing. Look, man, I never thought Biden could get more votes than Trump, because he never did before. Ever, when he tried to run for president. He never came close to being president. All of a sudden, this feeble old man who was at a drive-in movie theater with like 4 people watching him speak wins the presidency when Trump's got 20,000 people at rallies in the stadium and 5,000 outside trying to get in. And I'm supposed to believe just visually that he lost that vote.
But who gives a fuck about rallies? Are we debating rally attendance now?
The people that vote. The people that vote.
I just
look. Julio, do you think if there were fucking Zuckerberg drop boxes in these states and these late counts and these 30 to 60 days of early ballots that Biden would have fucking won that vote?
I don't know.
Dude, no fucking way. I'm sorry, man. It's one-day voting and military mail-in ballots only. We'll see who wins a fucking vote legitimately, like it used to be.
What I do know is Trump has spent most of his time talking about slaughtering babies, rally attendance.
No, that's because that's the questions he's being asked.
Okay. All right.
That's what they're asking him.
I'm a Trump guy, Dave. I'm with you.
No, I agree, but it's not his fault. He doesn't get to ask the questions.
Nuclear says, Dave, hide your dogs.
I got 5. I could give up 1 or 2.
In your neighborhood, Dave? Want to lock them up?
No, it's a bunch of white guys that are farmers. They got their own pigs and shit they'll kill.
Yeah, Kevin's saying it gets worse. So.
Look, I'm sure it does because Trump's not going to be happy. He's going to be frustrated. She triggered him with the whole rally thing, like Kevin said earlier. But the dog and cat eating thing was you don't need to say that, dude.
No.
That's like National Enquirer stuff until you see people actually, like dicing them up and eating them. It's rumor. Dogs run away. Dogs do what they do. Yeah, it's exactly true, Red Scorpion. It's not good.
He's leaning into it. He should know better.
I guess. I think he wants to be right.
Well, that's the problem. You're right, Dave. I agree.
Okay, he wants to be right.
He's a narcissist.
It's like Vito wanting to be right. It's like Vito leaning into shit all the time, and people leave rooms because it gets annoying, right? It's like I can't take this shit no more. So, all right, Jim, go ahead, buddy.
Thank you. Because when I hear that, see, I'm a different kind of a person. I fired most of those people, not so graciously. They did bad things or a bad job. I fired them. They never fired one person. They didn't fire anybody having to do with Afghanistan and the Taliban and the 13 people who's were just killed, viciously and violently killed. And I got to know the parents and the family. They didn't fire. They should have fired all those generals, all those top people, because that was one of the most incompetently handled situations anybody has ever seen. So when somebody does a bad job, I fire him. And you take a guy like Esper. He was no good. I fired him. So he writes a book. Another one writes a book. Because with me, they can write books. With nobody else can they. But they have done such a poor job, and they never fire anybody. Look at the economy. Look at the inflation. They didn't fire any of their economists. They have the same people. That's a good way not to have books written about you. But just to finish, I got more votes than any Republican in history by far. In fact, I got more votes than any sitting president in history by far.
Let me continue on immigration. It was what you wanted to talk about earlier, so let's get back to your deportation.
Now, Jim, I'm going to say something that the vice president one of my old coworkers told me, and I'm going to give the Democrats credit for this. Trump will fire anybody quickly. Okay, when I was the manager, I fired a supervisor, and my buddy said, "Dave, don't fire your supervisors." I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Don't fire your supervisors." So I was like, "I don't understand." He goes, "Well, when you fire your supervisors, it looks like you have no control of what your supervisors are doing." I said, "Well, he was out of line." And all. He goes, "I understand, Dave, but don't fire him." So about 2 years go by, I fire another supervisor. He's like, "Dave, stop firing supervisors because he never fired one. I don't care how bad it got in the territory that supervisor ran, he wouldn't fire them. He wouldn't even demote them. He just worked with them. So when we got bought out and they had to downsize managers in the area, I was let go. He goes, Dave, that's because you fired supervisors. I'm just telling you, man, if you fire people, don't think that you have control of the people that you hire. That's a fair statement. But I was in my early 30s, mid 30s, learning this lesson going, right? And I learned that lesson by losing my job, but it's a thing. When you're the manager and you pick people that you trust to be your supervisor, to run territories for you or whatever their supervisory role is, and then you fire them, that means you're out of control because you don't have them under control. And that's why people think that Trump's cabinet is never in control. He has no control of those people because he's always firing people. Like, these people are here today, gone tomorrow, right? How many speakers did he have at the fucking daily White House speeches, Jim? Like 3 or 4?
No, he had what's her face, Huckabee Sanders, and then he had Kayleigh McEnany.
He also had the other chick who was married to the fucking leftist.
No, that was just that was just a campaign lady. That was what's her face. She wasn't ever a spokesperson. She was on his campaign. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
she's married to the fat dude. I can't think of his name either.
Yeah, they're both shitheads.
Yeah.
But
blonde chick that put her feet up on the couch and people made a big deal about it.
Oh, Kelly Conway.
Yeah, right. Kellyanne Conway. She was never the spokesperson. The first spokesperson was Sarah Huckabee Sanders, and then it was Kayleigh McEnany. He only had 2. I mean, he hired that idiot, what's his face, Scaramucci for like 8 days to be like a spokesperson for something, but he.
Nuclear Red Scorpion's right. To be fair, it's not just Trump. Any candidate has that uphill battle against the mainstream media. Look at RFK, Bernie, or Tulsi. If you weren't the selected candidate for the left, they attack you. Of course.
They should be talking about, why are you living paycheck to paycheck now, and you weren't when I was president.
But
simple.
I get it. He should be talking about it, but they're asking him about state rights, abortion bullshit, not federal government controlled. So, all right, Jim, sorry to interrupt again.
Reacted to as well. President Trump, you call this the largest domestic deportation operation in the history of our country. You say you would use the National Guard. You say if things get out of control, you'd have no problem using the U.S. military.
Police, yes.
You also said you would use local police. How would you deport 11 million undocumented immigrants? I know you believe that number is much higher. Take us through this. What does this look like? Will authorities be...
Okay. They know for a fucking fact, according to Biden, that 15 million came in the past 3 years. So how the fuck is there only 11 million?
I've heard 11 million for the last 9 years of my life. I'm tired
longer
of this
than
number.
that. Longer than that.
Yeah.
It's fucking 40 million. Easy.
We're at we're a 400 million population country. They just don't count all the fucking illegals.
Well, this is where it can lead into a. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
This is where you should lean into what Kevin was saying in the chat, like the financial drain this has on people like me and Dave, and Andrew, whoever, have to actually get us.
Jim,
spending $1 trillion a year. We're spending $1 trillion a year on illegals. $1 trillion. More than we're spending on Medicare. More than we're spending on fucking Social Security. More than we're spending on the military. We're spending on illegals.
Mm-hmm.
To house them, to feed them, to clothe them.
And to fucking catch some that cross the border, because we have a big border patrol that we're paying to, right? I mean,
for their babies also.
Oh yeah, this whole abortions,
by the way.
This whole thing, if you're born in America and your parents are illegal, doesn't make you an American citizen. And they need to change that law yesterday. You don't get to cross the border for the fucking glory of having a baby here, and all of a sudden your baby's legal, and now you get this weird right to stay here.
That rule.
Fuck that rule. Fuck that bullshit.
Oh, like that rule, like doesn't apply, anywhere else. If my wife has a kid in China, my kid is not. My kid is like not automatically a Chinese citizen.
No, we're the only country that does this. Where if you're born here, you're automatically a citizen.
Yeah, it's a retarded rule. It's stupid.
Yeah.
No other country does it.
And the left is always like, oh, we should be like all other countries.
Mm-hmm.
But not when it comes to this.
Right. All right, go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, it is much higher because of them. They allowed criminals, many, many millions of criminals. They allowed terrorists. They allowed common street criminals. They allowed people to come in, drug dealers, to come into our country. And they're now in the United States and told by their countries like Venezuela, don't ever come back or we're going to kill you. Do you know that crime in Venezuela and crime in countries all over the world is way down? You know why? Because they've taken their criminals off the street and they've given them to her to put into our country. And this will be one of the greatest mistakes in history for them to allow. And I think they probably did it because they think they're going to get votes, but it's not worth it because they're destroying the fabric of our country by what they've done. There's never been anything done like this at all. They've destroyed the fabric of our country. Millions of people let in. And all over the world, crime is down. All over the world except here. Crime here is up and through the roof. Despite their fraudulent statements that they made, crime in this country is through the roof. And we have a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime. And it's happening at levels that nobody thought possible.
President Trump, as you know, the FBI says overall violent crime is actually coming down in this country. But Vice
Excuse me,
President
the
Harris,
FBI they were defrauding statements. They didn't include the worst cities. They didn't include the cities with the worst crime. It was a fraud, just like their number of 818,000 jobs that they said they created turned out to be a fraud.
President Trump, thank you. I'll let you respond, Vice President.
Again,
Well, I
not
think
his
this is
fucking
so
place,
rich.
moderator's place.
Coming from someone who has been prosecuted
Right.
for
Oh,
national
fuck.
security
Oh,
crimes, economic
shit.
crimes, election
this.
interference, has been found liable for sexual assault, and his next
They
big
changed
court
the
appearance is in
law
November at
to
his own
make it
criminal
happen, Jim.
sentencing. And let's be clear where each person stands on the issue of what is important about respect for the rule of law and respect
You
for law
don't.
enforcement.
You
The former
don't.
Vice President.
God damn. Fuck, Jim. This is it. Why don't they shut her up? Like they shut him up all the time. Shut her up. He's not been actually sentenced to anything. You know why? Because they can't.
Mm-hmm.
They
You can
can't.
indict a ham sandwich, is the saying.
Yeah. Like they found him guilty, but you know what they haven't done is actually gave a ruling on what the sentence is.
Because as soon as they do, it leaves the judge's control and goes to the appeals court. The appeals court's going to go, what the fuck were you
Why
doing?
the fuck are you doing this? So
None of this makes any sense. You didn't follow any fucking rules. You threw shit in there that had no right to be in there.
You changed the law to be able to prosecute him in the first place. They actually reversed the dates on this fucking chick, like for this stupid case with her
Stormy
and this.
Daniels.
Oh yeah, no.
They
The chick
were
at the
allowed
fucking-
to take the
chick
P
that says
tape.
he groped her in a
Yeah.
dressing room at a goddamn department store in New York City.
Yeah,
Like
the judge allowed the P tape in because he said it was like a confession.
right. It's so goddamn dumb, dude. Like this is the shit that he has to deal with. And she's going to use this shit against him. And this is like Julio said it 1,000 times. The average person doesn't know. They just know that Donald Trump got convicted of something. And I swear to God, she is wearing a earpiece.
Yeah,
Because
she is.
In the right ear.
she's not this smart. She's
Yeah.
just not this smart.
She's not
She's
being
right
that
here.
smart. Trump's being an idiot. So she's
I don't think
I think she could
No.
put together the sentences she's putting together. I'm not gonna
I don't think she has any talent at all, dude. There's no way she has any skill at all, except for maybe blowing somebody. Dude, she never won a delegate. Okay, because she doesn't have a speaking capacity that anybody wants to listen to. I hate every word that comes out of her mouth. I don't care. She's a fucking lying cunt. Not a see you next Tuesday. Cunt, cunt, cunt. With a capital C,
drill,
a
baby, drill.
capital U, a capital N, and a capital T. Cunt. She's a cunt. And she's a lying piece of shit. She will drag this country. And the worst part is if she gets elected, she's going to be there for 8 years. You got to understand this.
Yeah.
She will be a 2-term piece of shit. That's gonna like yeah. You know, people say presidents are blah blah blah, but Biden did not turn out to be a good statesman after about like 6 months of the presidency because he just lost his mental capacity. He just didn't have it anymore.
Sure.
She's not a good representative of what America's about. She's just not. Oh God.
I will agree with Trump on one thing for sure. Well, I agree with Trump on a lot of things, but
Sure.
he says this is the last chance. This election really is one of the most important elections in recent.
Because we fucked up so much across the goddamn planet. The other countries are done fucking with us, dude.
It's over.
You wait, Jim, when they say the dollar is officially not the currency that other countries, base their economy on. We're fucking done, Jim.
Yeah, forever.
That $22,000 fucking concrete job's gonna be worth about $20, right? I mean, that's how bad it could get. She is.
The president called for defunding federal law enforcement, 45,000 agents. Get this, on the day after he was arraigned on 34 felony counts.
So
let's talk about what is
about?
important in this race. It is important that we move forward, that we turn the page.
How many charges do you think
on
they could
this
bring her up
same
on,
old
Jim?
tired rhetoric and address the needs of the American people, address what we need to do about the housing shortage, which I have a plan for, address what we
What's your
must do
plan?
to support our small businesses,
$6,000?
address bringing down the price of groceries. But frankly,
How are you
the
gonna do that?
American people are exhausted with this same old tired playbook.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
Excuse me. Every one of those cases was started by them against their political opponent. And I'm winning most of them, and I will win the rest on appeal. And you saw that with the decision that came down just recently from the Supreme Court. I'm winning most of them. But those are cases, it's called weaponization. Never happened in this country. They weaponized the
Never
Justice
happened,
Department.
Julio. That was
Every
the
one of
scary
those
part about
cases
this.
was involved with the DOJ from Atlanta and Fani
That's so
Willis
dumb, right,
to
Kevin?
the Attorney General of New York and the DA in New York. Every one of those cases. And then they say, oh, he's a criminal. They're the ones that made them go after me. By the way, Joe Biden was found essentially guilty on the documents case. And what happened in my documents case? They said, oh, that's the toughest of them all. A complete and total victory. 2 months ago, it was thrown out. It's weaponization, and they used it, and it's never happened in this country. They used it to try and win an election. They're fake cases.
President Trump, thank you. A really quick response here, Vice President Harris, on this notion of weaponization of the Justice Department.
Why does she keep getting a fucking response, and yet they want to cut Trump off? I don't understand. This is bullshit.
It's rigged. The whole thing is rigged.
And they keep countering his statements too. You're right, Jim. It's like he's debate now. He's not doing a good job, but he is. It's like 3 against 1.
Dude, that was a great point. No president has ever been gone after they're out of office.
But it wasn't a great point, in my opinion, Dave, is that he's talking about himself. Oh, my rally fucking attendance. Oh, my.
Well, sure, she's the one that says people are walking out.
About that. You should be saying, I was president for 4 years and shit was good. She's been in office, and who the president is now, I have no fucking clue.
I guess, dude.
Shit.
But if
So
you
let's
tell,
go back to when I was president. Remember that? It was great.
I guess, but if you're going to sit there and say that people attend my rallies and they leave because they're bored, I've not seen those videos. No, dude, that's his. God,
no, he should have said. He should have had a message. He should have stayed on message. He should have pushed through and said exactly what he wanted to say. He should have had this down. And no matter what, just like she's doing, no matter what the fuck they ask, she says what she wants to say.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
So he should have did the same fucking thing.
She's doing.
But this makes him
great job.
More human, though, doesn't it?
She does have an earpiece in her right ear. I seen the fucking wire.
Oh yeah.
But this does look more human if you're Trump. Like, you're passionate.
I mean, and he's off his game. He would have saw it and said something about it if he was on his game. He would have said, "You wearing a fucking earpiece?
You wearing a wire? You wearing a wire?
Yeah.
Take that jacket off."
I
Get on your knees.
Slowly.
If she gets elected, we're going to war.
Oh yeah,
World
we are.
War. Yeah.
Yes, I want all the wars.
Well, let's talk about extreme and understand the context in which this election in 2024 is taking place. The United States Supreme Court recently ruled that the former president would essentially be immune from any misconduct if he were to enter the White House again.
Yeah.
Understand, this is someone who has openly said he would terminate, I'm quoting, terminate the Constitution of the United States.
That's a fucking lie.
Shit.
That he would weaponize the Department of Justice against his political enemies.
Like you did to
Someone who has
him.
openly expressed
fuck?
disdain
Hot
for members
kettle.
of our
Have you
military.
met?
Understand what it would mean if Donald Trump were back in the White House with no guardrails, because certainly we know now the court won't stop him. We know J.D. Vance is not going to stop him. It's up to the American people.
Vice
Fuck
President.
you!
Thank you. Lindsay.
Vice President Harris,
Pause,
in your
pause,
last run for president.
Weaponize, please.
Pause. Like, yeah, like, they keep trying to criminalize him, and then they try to have him assassinated after that,
Yeah.
and they're probably going to try it again.
What, Julio?
They try to have him assassinated, and they're eating cats, and it's all.
No, he said
Who did?
they went after they attacked
That's
him.
my point. Is that this isn't what matters to most people. I guess you get enraged when you go to TikTok and you go, "Oh, there's a Haitian with a goose in Ohio." Everybody gets enraged. But that's not the real problem. The real problem is trying to keep us from not getting into a nuclear war with crazy shit happening everywhere, having a good foreign policy, getting the
Well,
economy.
Trump had great foreign policy.
Yeah, I haven't heard him say shit about it. Although on the
haven't
other hand, I haven't heard him
asked
ask the question. That's
Right.
true.
Right. Okay. So they've asked him about the border. They've asked him about fucking abortion, and that's about it. This is where we're at. And then
the reason you're paying $200 for a week's worth of groceries is because 15 million fucking immigrants came in here and they're eating up all the tax money. What do you think of that? That'd be a good
I
statement.
agree. And that's
Chris.
exactly right. You agree with Jem, Kevin. Like he should have just said, "Fuck your debate. I don't need to debate you."
Right.
Yeah.
Click
You know,
on.
he could have said exactly like
click on
Chris is
Chris.
saying. He should have turned it back and said, "Yeah, you prosecuted people wrongfully, and you got smacked down by the courts because you went after people you shouldn't have. You held people in jail longer than you were supposed to. You used people as slave labor to fight fires." I mean, he should have went ham on that.
Right.
Chris, good chat, Chris.
Chris always is good chat.
You know, he should have pulled his best Tulsi fucking impersonation. Just went, roast this fucking pig.
Tulsi should be up there, to be honest with you. I'd
Oh
rather
yeah,
the whole other thing.
she would have smoked her.
We got to
This is the
continue.
one that weaponized, not me. She weaponized. I probably took a bullet to the head because of the things that they say about me. They talk about democracy. I'm a threat to democracy. They're the threat to democracy
President
with a fake
Trump.
Russia investigation
We do have a lot to
that
get-
went nowhere.
We have a lot to get to. Lindsay?
Vice President Harris, in your last
Fucking
run for president, you said
assholes.
you wanted to ban fracking. Now you don't. You wanted mandatory government buyback programs for assault weapons. Now your campaign says you don't. You supported decriminalizing border crossings. Now you're taking
See, that's a lie. Her campaign actually said she wants the mandatory confiscation of guns. Senator Warnock from Georgia was asked specifically, and he said, "Yeah, we should do that." And he's a surrogate of her because she's not giving any fucking interviews. So that's a lie, you cunt.
The state of Georgia going to take guns away from all those hillbillies in Georgia, Jim. That's amazing.
That was a senator that they elected. So you know what? Suck on that, Georgia. You put him in office, deal with it.
Who put him in office?
The people in Georgia, or the people who stole the election in Fulton County. I don't know.
Yeah. He's a state senator, dude. He's a
U.S. senator.
well,
Raphael Warnock.
But he's a piece of shit. He's
He
terrible.
is.
Yeah, he's terrible.
harder line. I know you say that your values have not changed. So then why have so many of your policy positions changed?
So my values have not changed, and I'm going to discuss every one of at least every point that you've made. But in particular, let's talk about fracking because we're here in Pennsylvania. I made that very clear in 2020. I will not ban fracking. I have
Liar.
not banned fracking as Vice President of the United States.
Lies.
In fact, I was the tie-breaking vote on the Inflation Reduction Act, which opened new leases for fracking. My position is that we have got to invest in diverse sources of energy so we reduce our reliance on foreign oil. We have had the largest increase in domestic oil production in history because of an approach that recognizes that we cannot
What the
over-rely
fuck is she
on foreign
talking
oil.
about, Jim?
As it relates to my values, let me tell you, I grew up
Okay, it's a fake with the numbers. Do you remember under Trump when oil was so cheap because they shut everything down and they were giving the oil away? Basically, there was futures that they were forcing.
It was like a penny. They were
Right, they were like,
yeah.
they were like, you have to take this oil because when you get futures contracts, you have to take delivery on them, and so they were like, basically, the price just plummeted because there was nobody that needed it, but you had to
Hence
take it.
why Southwest Airlines tickets are so cheap. They buy futures. They don't buy today. Okay.
Right. But what happened was they stopped. They were like, stop.
Yes.
In like 2020 because of the pandemic, they stopped producing oil. Like stopped for like 2 months
because of
then,
Biden getting elected too.
Well, no, it was because of COVID and the stuff, and because they had a way too much of it produced. They didn't know where to stick it. And
dude, I was at all the pipeline companies I deal with, and I'd go down there and see them. They go, dude, our tanks are full.
Right. But what happened was because of that, they stopped producing it. So when they started, just like the jobs that they say they created that came back, it's the same thing. They just restarted again. So this month they were producing nothing, and this month they're producing regular. So it's the largest increase ever.
Yeah.
Because it went from nothing
to something. Yeah. Invest in Jim and fuck solar energy. Fuck that shit too, man. Fuck.
Ooh, we got some bad news with that coming, buddy. Ooh, buddy.
Oh man.
A double secret probation thing coming.
I might think I can kind of see like the wire from her earpiece, like
right here.
On her neck.
Yeah,
right there.
Kind of see it. Yeah. They be cheating.
Middle-class kid raised by a hardworking mother who
She's not middle
worked
class,
and
Jim.
saved and was able.
Both her parents were fucking university professors.
Yeah.
That ain't middle class, motherfucker.
She's like, oh, a hard-working mother. I'm surprised she didn't go,
folks.
I don't like this look on Trump's face. He looks angry. He should be smiling. Like,
yes.
I'm sorry. I don't love him, but I'm voting Trump.
Yeah.
I'll crawl over broken glass to vote for him.
I gotta say,
but
this is the oldest.
I am not happy with the performance.
This is the oldest I've ever seen Trump look.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say it. This is the oldest I've ever seen him. Not his words, but just his facial expressions and whatever. But I don't want her to be president, guys. I don't care. I don't care how bad Trump performs. What she does in the next 4 years could literally make me and Jim have to change our entire lifestyle because they're taxing the dog shit out of any. Just like you, Andrew, with your futures on your comic book, they're going to tax you in advance. And you know, one thing I wish why is death tax a federal thing, Jim? Why is that? Why is that federal? Why is that that's another abortion thing for me? Like,
sorry.
Go ahead, Julio. Oh.
No, I was thinking something and I almost said it. But
Jew bankers, is that what you're saying?
No, of course not.
But I heard the J come out of your mouth. But I've paid taxes as a individual my entire life, whether it's property, whether it's income, whatever it is. When I die, I don't think the government is owned anything. It's over. Like, my wife gets that, not the fucking government. Like, all these farmers that lose all these families that lose their farming acreage, Jim, and it's happened for what, 35 years at least. Yeah. All these farmers are losing when the patriarch dies. The family has this gigantic tax bill they can't pay, so they got to sell their property to Bill Gates or whoever or the federal government. It's fucking terrible, dude. We pay taxes every year of our life. Why does the government get to take anything after I'm dead?
And you pay property taxes on that property every fucking year, and then when it's like, oh no, now we're going to tax it because you sold it.
Yeah, and you could have paid the property off fucking 80 years ago. but you're still paying property taxes every year for the value of the property. I just don't understand the death tax. I never have. I just don't get it. Like it's unbelievable to me that somebody thinks that we owe them something more when we die. Julio, do you disagree? Because you're taking away something that I could leave for my children because my wife's got to pay some stupid bill.
Their lives are not ours.
I got a small inheritance from my father when he passed away, and I had to pay it. He already paid taxes on the money, and then I had to pay taxes. You know, the Beatles wrote a good song about this.
Well, that's not a good answer, though. Do you agree with a death tax?
No.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
Able to buy our first home when I was a teenager. The values I bring to the
Where was that home? Was that in Canada?
Dude, it doesn't matter. Because
shotgun shop, wherever
like this is a dumb argument because I don't know what your parents' credit history was. Like they might have had some shitty credit, and by the time you were 14 or 13, your parents fixed their credit and you were able to buy a house. I mean, people, even though they're college professors, maybe they make some bad credit choices and they got to do some stuff to actually, because getting a mortgage ain't easy. It's like it's not 2000 anymore where we could just say you have an income and nobody validates it.
Right.
They actually do the work now again. I was talking to a guy, Jim, the other day. I was in Milton, Wisconsin, population 5,000.
Salute.
They got condos for sale in Milton, Wisconsin. 2-bedroom condos, side by side condos. $535,000 for each unit. And I'm like,
how long is this debate supposed to be? It's not a 3-hour debate, is it?
No, we're just EFAPing it for 3 hours.
No, I'm saying it's still going on.
Really?
They just took a commercial break.
Well, we're not going to last that long. Those fucking loans were crazy, man. Like that's why some of these banks went out of business, right?
They can't do a 3-hour fucking debate, can they?
Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac.
They will tonight because I know Trump's in his 70s and she's in her 60s, so she might look better longer. Right? I mean, they wouldn't do this if Biden was on stage. It'd be fucking 55 minutes and out.
The ninja, no doc loans, no proof of
nothing.
income,
No proof of income,
no income,
nothing.
no job. Yeah, those were fucked everything up.
Dave, I got to give you props though. I appreciate that you're allowing us in this panel to directly talk about this as opposed to sniping.
No, I don't care what Ethan says.
I didn't know
It's
if
better.
what you guys wanted to do. I don't care. I mean, I don't know. I mean, everyone has their own opinions, and my opinions are that everyone else's opinions smell like my asshole.
It ends at 10:45 Eastern, says Kevin. So it's 1 minute from now, Jim.
Okay. My joke sucked. I'm sorry.
So, well, we can give you your props.
Everyone laugh at the funny joke.
No income, no job or assets. Yeah, those loans were awful. And I didn't take advantage. I didn't know that was a thing. Like, because my dad told me buying a house is not an easy task, son. And I remember in the 70s and early 80s, Jim, when interest on house loans were like 16, 17%.
We're getting, you know what? We are on pace for that again.
Yes, we are. Like even car loans. Remember all the 0% car loans?
Right, but if you track the everything, it looks exactly like it was in the 70s, right before it went thump.
Yep, I totally agree with that because like people are sending me refinance stuff all the time, Jim. But my interest rate would go double. But why would I do that? Because they don't know what my loan's worth, right?
But I'll give you a guy. I got a guy in Illinois. He'll talk to you.
But I'm at 4%.
I'll have him talk to you.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Please do but I'm on a 15. I want to pay this fucker off.
Yeah, no, there's things they can there's things they could do if you got, you know what I mean? If you got an 800 credit score, you'll be fine.
Do they still do FHA loans? Yeah, they do. And it with 3% down, they still do them, Fitzy. Go ahead and play it, Jim. I'll be right back.
Importance of home ownership, knowing not everybody got handed $400 million on a silver platter and then filed bankruptcy 6 times, is a value that I bring to my work to say
He didn't file bankruptcy. His businesses filed bankruptcy. You know, just like New York, or I'm sorry, just like Chicago's going to have to do, and cities in California had to do, and fucking Detroit had to do. Yeah, because it happens.
we are going to work with the private sector and home builders to increase 3 million homes, increase by 3 million homes by the end of my first term. My work that is related to having a friend when I was in high school who was sexually assaulted by her stepfather. And my focus then on protecting women and children from violent crime is based on a value that is deeply grounded in the importance of standing up for those who are most vulnerable. My work that is about protecting.
Wouldn't unborn babies be the most vulnerable?
Well, let's not get crazy.
I'm just saying.
Let's not
Like,
split
they
hairs.
can't defend themselves at all. They have no voice,
Right.
no one to speak for them. I
Yep.
mean,
Well,
holy
yeah,
fuck.
Well, yeah.
Why ain't
but
I
Jim-
up there debating? I'd have hammered this bitch.
Well, remember, Jim, embryos are not people until they're magically out of the womb. Then they're people.
Yeah, no, I don't believe that.
That's what they believe.
Social Security and Medicare is based on long-standing work that I have done, protecting seniors from scams. My values have not changed. And what is important is that there is a president who actually brings values and a perspective that is about lifting people up and not beating people down and name-calling. The true measure of the leader is the leader who actually understands the strength is not in beating people down, it's in lifting people up. I intend to be
Holy
that
fuck, she just did a Kamala where she just repeated the same thing a different way.
Yeah.
president.
President Trump, your
Well, first of
response?
all, I wasn't given $400 million. I wish I was. My father was a Brooklyn builder, Brooklyn, Queens, and a great father, and I learned a lot from him. But I was given a fraction of that, a tiny fraction, and I built it into many, many billions of dollars, many, many billions. And when people see it, they are even surprised. So we don't have to talk about that. Fracking, she's been against it for 12 years. Defund the police. She's been against that forever. She gave all that stuff up
For it.
very wrongly,
For it,
very
right.
horribly, and everybody's laughing at it, okay? They're all laughing at it. She gave up at least 12 and probably 14 or 15 different policies. Like, she was big on defund the police. In Minnesota, she went out, wait a minute, I'm talking now, if you don't mind, please. Does that sound familiar?
Ooh.
She went out. She went out in Minnesota and wanted to let criminals that killed people, that burned down Minneapolis, she went out and raised money to get them out of jail. She did things that nobody would ever think of. Now she wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens that are in prison. This is a radical left liberal that would do this. She wants to confiscate your guns, and she will never allow fracking in Pennsylvania. If she won the election, fracking in Pennsylvania will end on day one. Just to finish one thing, so important in my opinion. So I got the oil business going like nobody has ever done before. When they took over, they got rid of it, started getting rid of it, and the prices were going up the roof. They immediately let these guys go to where they were. I would have been 5 times, 4 times, 5 times higher, because you're talking about 3.5 years ago. They got it up to where I was because they had no choice, because the prices of energy were quadrupling and doubling. You saw what happened to gasoline. So they said, let's go back to Trump. But if she won the election, the day after that election, they'll go back to destroying our country, and oil will be dead, fossil fuel will be dead. We'll go back to windmills, and we'll go back to solar, where they need a whole desert to get some energy to come out. You ever see a solar plant? By the way, I'm a big fan of solar, but they take 400,
President
500 acres of desert
President
soil.
Trump, we have a
These
lot
are
of
not good
issues
things
that
for
we
the
have to get
environment
to.
that
We're
she
out of time.
understands.
Thank you.
Lindsay, thank you. We have an election in just 56 days. And I want to talk about the peaceful transfer of power, which, of course, we all know is a cornerstone of our democracy, and the role of a president in a moment of crisis.
This.
Mr. President, on
this
January
again.
6th, you told your supporters to march to the Capitol. You said you would be right there with them. The country and the world saw what played out of the Capitol that day. The officers under attack.
God, I
Aides
hate
in the West Wing
this.
say you watched it unfold on television off the Oval Office. You did send out tweets, but it
No,
was more
no,
than 2
keep
hours
playing, Jim. Keep going, keep going, keep going.
before you
keep
sent
going.
out that video message telling your supporters to go home. Is there anything you regret about what you did on that day?
You just said a thing that isn't covered. Peacefully and patriotically, I said during my speech, not later on. Peacefully and patriotically. And nobody on the other side was killed. Ashley Babbitt was shot by an out-of-control police officer that should have never, ever shot her. It's a disgrace. But we didn't do this group of people that have been treated so badly. I ask, what about all the people that are pouring into our country and killing people that she allowed to pour in? She was the border czar, remember that. She was the border czar. She doesn't want to be called the border czar because she's embarrassed by the border. In fact, she said at the beginning, well, I'm surprised you're not talking about the border yet. That's because she knows what a bad job they've done. What about those people? When are they going to be prosecuted? When are these people from countries all over the world, not just South America? They're coming in from all over the world, David, all over the world, and crime rates are down all over the world because of it.
But let me just
when are those, David, when are those people going to be prosecuted? When are the people that burned down Minneapolis going to be prosecuted? Or in Seattle, they went into Seattle, they took over a big percentage of the city of Seattle. When are those people going to be prosecuted?
But let me just ask
You might ask her that question.
You were the president. You were watching it unfold on television. It's a very simple question as we move forward toward another election.
No,
Is
David,
there anything
shut
you
the
regret
fuck
about
up
what you
about
did on that
January
day?
6th. It's
Yes,
a
sir.
I had
fake
nothing to
news
do with
story.
that other than they asked me to make a speech. I showed up for a speech. I said, I think it's going to be big. I went to Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington, D.C., and the mayor put it back in writing, as you know. I said, you know, this is going to be a very big rally or whatever you want to call it. And again, it wasn't done by me. It was done by others. I said, I'd like to give you 10,000 National Guard or soldiers. They rejected me. Nancy Pelosi rejected me. It was just 2 weeks ago. Her daughter has a tape of her saying she is fully responsible for what happened. They want to get rid of that tape. It would have never happened if Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington did their jobs. I wasn't responsible for security. Nancy Pelosi was responsible. She didn't do her job.
The question was about you as president, not about former Speaker Pelosi. But I do want Vice President Harris to respond here.
Yeah.
I was at the Capitol on January 6th.
Who cares?
I was the vice president-elect. I was also
Yeah,
were
she
you
was
scared?
right next to a pipe bomb that for some reason was planted by the FBI or somebody that no one's been arrested for in the
Were you
place with the
scared
most
for your
cameras. in the
life?
world.
Were you scared for your life, Kamala? Fitzy says, bottom line, the Bushes, Clintons, Cheneys, Obama, and Biden, and all the media is anti-Trump. That should tell the average person something, but most people are brainwashed or don't care. 1,000%. I think even like Julio, we understand, like, maybe you don't think Trump looks good, and maybe he doesn't, but there's a reason. Like, they're gonna do everything. Like, why is David asking about January 6th? That's not a Trump issue again. He didn't say go into the Capitol. He said go to the Capitol and have a peaceful protest. That's what he said. He couldn't have stopped the DC or the police that control the fucking entrance of the place, opening gates and letting people in. He didn't tell people to do that. Trump never said let these people in. He never said
He
that.
should have said, I'm disappointed that they didn't go further. That would have been something.
Yeah, but they're still trying to prosecute people, Julio. 3.5 years
They're
later.
still arresting people who never even went inside the fucking building.
But this is woo-woo shit that nobody here's what he should have done.
It's not woo-woo, it's fact.
Listen to me. When Kamala said, oh, your dad gave you X amount of dollars, that's where he should have jumped off and goes, yeah, we all want to live our children something. But when we're living paycheck to paycheck and paying X amount for this.
But she's using that to make him look like he didn't earn anything, dude. And he's going to say, I turned that million into billions.
No, he should have. Yeah, my dad made money and left it to his son, like a lot of Americans would love to do if they could. But under your economy, we can't. There. Right? I mean, I don't know.
No. If my dad left me $10,000 and I turned it into $2 million, I'm going to be very proud of the fact that I turned my dad's 10,000 into 2 million. That would be a thing I would gloat about. I did that. Okay, my dad like my dad did what he wanted to do. He got me off on the right foot in life to try and make something of myself. And Trump, he's failed. Like we know he's had bankruptcies with small businesses, but he's also got a goddamn casino in Vegas or a hotel. Is that hotel in Vegas a casino too, Jim? I didn't go inside the Trump, or is it just a hotel?
I believe almost every hotel is a casino in Vegas, but I could be wrong.
I didn't go into the Trump one. My buddy stayed there. I didn't ask him. I think it is a casino though, because he kept going down every night to play blackjack and lost like $2,000 a night at the blackjack tables in the Trump Tower. But it's beautiful. It's on the circus.
What is
circus
Elemental
side.
MJ talking about?
Yeah, what is he
breaking
talking
into
about?
something a mile away while Trump was giving a speech?
A mysterious group.
Well, they were breaking in while Trump was still speaking. A mysterious group spotted down the garden building a mile away while Trump was giving speech. It's like,
oh, he's talking about January 6th. I thought he meant like right now.
No, we're talking.
Somebody big. I was like, what the fuck?
No, we're talking because like I don't. Again, look, to me, January 6th was not a thing until they killed Ashley Babbitt. It just wasn't. It's not like I don't know why the fucking federal government thinks they own these buildings. Do you remember Julio before January 6th when all those fucking retards were at the Supreme Court banging on the doors to get in the door, and they were out there protesting like crazy, and they didn't arrest one person. They never even went back and watched videotape to fucking arrest them. Or when people were showing up at Supreme Court justices' houses and stuff like that, which is illegal as fuck because you're trying to influence a goddamn vote by, putting strain on them. But whatever, dude. Whatever.
I would think the left would like to protest. That's what they do, isn't it? I mean,
they only like when they protest.
My point is, though, is the right never tried to prosecute these people. So now, people that support Trump are still getting arrested that never even entered the building. That's not woo-woo. That's life-changing shit that these people have to fight in court. Whether they win or lose, it still costs them money, and they'll never get that money back. Didn't the guy that wore the fucking antlers or whatever, Jim, didn't he get released eventually, finally?
Yeah, he got released after Tucker Carlson did a story on it, and then they just had to give him back his flag and his helmet or whatever.
But they put him in for like 7 years, right, for sitting in.
And then they released him.
And
because
when the guy actually asked for permission to sit on the seat, and the fat little white cop, the DC cop, said, "No problem, dude. Go ahead and sit down." Because that's how much of a cordial conversation these guys were having when he was in the Senate, right? It was the Senate, right? Or maybe I think it was a Senate house he was in, and he's like, "Yeah, go ahead and sit down, dude." Like, what the fuck, dude?
The whole thing was a setup, I think.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. It's of course it was, but I don't like that. I don't think this is a debate topic, Julio, and I think that's my point. Like, it's not a debate topic. Let's talk about foreign wars. Let's talk about stop funding goddamn Russia, Ukraine. Who the fuck cares?
Talk about money,
right? The left doesn't care. They don't care. They only care. The left only cares about Ukraine because MSNBC says you should support Ukraine. That guy's a piece of shit too.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's a piece of shit. And this is like Biden's ultimate payoff, sending him billions of dollars for the last 2 years, every 3 months, and the fucking Senate and House approving it all the time. While Putin and him are both going to the bank every day, laughing their ass off at America.
My son just texted me. He's 24 and he's about as ripe as I am.
Yeah.
He said, My goodness, I feel like I just watched two old people read their own Twitter page. That was his takeaway.
But one had an earpiece and one didn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It is important, but it's not Trump's fault that it's like, I guess it is Trump's fault in a way, because there's no way he lost that election, and there were a lot of people pissed off.
But if you're going to blame Trump for the January 6th, where several people walked into the building and were let in,
walking around,
aren't you going to blame this chick Harris or whoever the Democrats?
Yeah,
Minneapolis, Seattle, and fucking go
St.
further than that. Every fucking
all around the country, there was
city,
shit riots
New York,
happening.
Chicago, everywhere.
How about St. Louis under Obama, when what's his name got fucking shot by the cop, who was the guy tried to grab his fucking gun. Remember that one, Jim?
Yeah, Michael Brown.
Michael Brown. Yeah.
It's almost like Trump should mention that entire portions of our country are no-go zones anymore, because
he did bring them up. He did say,
yeah, but he wanted to make sure they didn't think that people were leaving his rallies early.
Well, that was earlier, but like now he just said, "Hey," but I get it. Like when the people find that the dollar is all a made-up worthless currency, and we have to barter or steal, yeah, like I've got cash in my house, but if our economy goes to shit tomorrow, my cash is worthless. I should go buy some gold with the cash I got in my house. And the other scary thing, Julio, if somebody was a dick and the cops were swatting me and they saw I had cash in my house, they would take my cash, because they're saying that's over the limit you should have as a human being. You're a drug trafficker. We're going to take your cash. Oh, I can't stand it.
Yeah, but that only works on Republicans. Like, Democrats don't care. Their state is fucked.
Well, because it's not for the Democrats, because they're getting free shit all the time. Like, and look, there's a lot of union guys, and they vote left or right depending on what their union boss tells them, right, Jim?
Mm-hmm.
So the left-right thing, in like, Trump was right super early in this debate. Like, the Trumps are going to get, or the unions are going to be greatly affected by this mass immigration, because at some point there's going to be enough labor out here for these companies to say, "Hey, look, dude, we can do the job without union rates." It's a thing. It's just a thing. And when the city of Chicago has, 20% of the population is illegal, that's already building their city in other ways, Jim, they're just going to let these contractors bid this shit that's non-union, and all these unions are worthless at some point. I mean, that would be the only good thing about mass immigration, breaking the unions. Fuck the unions. Yeah. Fuck the union. Well, I like Red Scorpion says, that's fiat currency in a nutshell. The dollar is only as strong as our ability to defend it. Yep. Agreed. Hence our ability or our willingness, Jim, to get into all these other countries' politics or wars so that our dollar looks strong, right? That's a good point. All right, go ahead, Jim. Let's get back to
Senator, I was there. And on that day, the President of the United States incited a violent mob.
No, he didn't.
To attack our nation's capital, to desecrate our nation's capital. On that day, 140 law enforcement officers were injured, and some died. And
no, they didn't.
No,
they didn't. Fucking liars.
He died of a heart attack 12 hours later.
And impeached for exactly that reason. But this is not an isolated situation. Let's remember Charlottesville, where there was a mob of people carrying tiki torches, spewing anti-Semitic
they bought at the fucking
and
party store.
The president then at the time say? there were fine people on each side.
Oh my
Let's
God!
remember.
They're
Wait a minute.
pulling-
What? ABC's not going to jump in and correct her and say that that's
Yeah.
been debunked by
No.
Snopes?
No.
Nope.
When it
And-
came to the Proud Boys, a militia, the former president said, stand back and stand by.
Jim.
So for every
The right to form a militia is in our Constitution still. We have the right to form a militia. There's nothing illegal about forming a militia.
The Proud Boys weren't a militia to begin with. So
Exactly.
A bunch of dudes
but-
that went drinking and fucking
Sure.
recited the names of
But-
breakfast cereals.
I'm
it was like a
just-
frat boy.
but-
Yeah.
but she said it. I didn't say it.
No, I
mean,
know. I'm just saying it's a joke.
What the fuck, man? Like, she's so goddamn stupid. She's actually getting these points in her earphones right now.
Yeah.
And I swear to God, it's not Obama, but it's an Obama like guy that got Obama elected. Just going, is it Axelrod? Is Axelrod in the background saying, "Say this, say this, say this, say this"?
Probably
Because
David Plouffe.
either or, right? Like Axelrod's another piece of
Axelrod's a
shit.
little too old. It's probably David Plouffe.
Pluff. What a name.
everyone
Pluff.
watching who remembers what January 6th was,
Nothing.
I say we don't have to go back.
Nothing.
Let's
Burger.
not go back. We're not going back. It's time to turn the page. And if that was a
To
bridge
what?
too far for you,
You
well, there
first.
is a place in our campaign for you to stand for country, to stand for our democracy, to stand for rule of law.
No,
and to
not
end the
not
chaos.
our democracy,
And
your
to end
democracy.
the approach that is about attacking the foundations of our democracy because you don't like the outcome. And be clear on that point. Donald Trump, the candidate, has said in this election there will be a bloodbath. If this and the outcome of this
It's a
election
joke,
is not
Kevin.
to his liking,
It's a joke.
let's turn the page on this. Let's not go back. Let's chart a course for the future and not go backwards to the past.
Let me just follow up here.
It was a different term, and it was a term that related to energy because they have destroyed our energy business. That was where bloodbath was. Also, on Charlottesville, that story has been, as you would say, debunked. Laura Ingraham, Sean Hannity, Jesse, all of these people, they covered it. If they go an extra sentence, they will see it was perfect. It was debunked in almost every newspaper, but they still bring it up, just like they bring 2025 up. They bring all of this stuff up. I ask you this. You talk about the Capitol. Why are we allowing these millions of people to come through on the southern border? How come she's not doing anything? And I'll tell you what I would do, and I would be very proud to do it. I would say we would both leave this debate right now. I'd like to see her go down to Washington, D.C. during this debate because we're wasting a lot of time. Go down to, because she's been so bad, it's so ridiculous. Go down to Washington, D.C. and let her sign a bill to close up the border because they have the right to do it. They don't need bills. They have the right to do it. The President of the United States, you'll get him out of bed, you'll wake him up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you'll say, come on down to the office, let's sign a bill. If he signs a bill that the border is closed, all he has to do is say it to the Border Patrol, who are phenomenal. If they do that, the border is closed.
Mr.
Those
President,
people are killing many people, unlike J6.
We talked immigration here tonight. I do want to focus on this next issue to both of you because
Jim,
it really brings
pause
us
that real quick.
this into focus. True.
Like you wake him up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That was fucking hilarious, dude. I mean, just that was great. That was gold. Like wake up the president at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and sign a bill to stop all immigration. They have the power because they have, and you know, Trump did that, and that the Democrats fought him in court. Like he tried to make that happen. And they just kept fighting it. So, but right now, if it's Biden and Kamala who care about our border crossings and they tried and they signed that into place, you know, it's not going to happen. A bunch of people fighting it. Jim, am I wrong? Because they're
I don't
on,
know. You know,
they're on this side of righteousness. Yeah, you're right. That
well,
was
it helps when
savage
you have
as
an earpiece
fuck.
in and people are feeding you lines. So,
Well, Kevin does say hey, there's no proof she's got an earpiece, and we're just fucking having a good time with that. But she has been practicing.
I saw it with my own eyes.
Yeah.
Just like she saw the cops being murdered on J6.
Oh yeah, all those cops that were died on January 6th. There was like hundreds of cops that died.
It was like, it was like a Civil War reenactment. That was.
Did you guys watch that movie Civil War that came out last year?
No, I didn't watch it.
Me neither. Like I will never watch that shit. But I did watch Borderlands, which I said I would never watch, Julio.
Ooh.
Because I got my my $20 a month. I can watch anything back, So I watched it, and guess what? I regret wasting that 2 hours of my life. It was the worst shit ever. It was
You regret that
terrible.
more than Horizon?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
1,000%.
Because that's
Like,
3.5 hours I wish I had back.
did you finish it?
Yes.
Terrible, right?
Yes. And
Terrible.
like you said, like the last 10 or 15 minutes, I'm like, what's happening?
Why?
Nobody's
Why am I-
talking, and it's just all this stuff happening, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
And I was confused. Like, is he
Yeah.
trying to fast pace it to where the next movie makes sense, or is this what's coming up next? Like, it was awful. Like, Kevin, what the fuck are you doing? Like, this is your epic 2-part. And somebody said in the stream the other night that they're trying to get a like.
I guess there's supposed to be 3 parts, but he doesn't have the money to do the third part.
I don't blame any studio for not fucking, backing the third part, because the first part's terrible. The second part's already done. And I guarantee you, Jim, that movie's not going to make any money. After the first part, it was god awful. That was the worst shit ever, Red Square. It was terrible. That movie sucked so bad. Like, there was nothing good about it. I mean, I swear to God, I thought they were trying to trying to do like Land of the Lost for Borderlands. Like, because you got Kevin Hart, it was terrible. And I just can't explain just how bad that movie is. And I'm a pretty open-minded guy, because I watched Fall Guy the other night with Ryan Gosling. That shit's good. If you
I
just want
thought
to have
that might be fun.
it's fucking good, Jim.
All right.
There's no agenda. There's nothing. It's a guy who's a stuntman, and something happens on the set, and it's just
the guy dressed like another guy pretending to be a different guy.
And the main dude, just it's fun as fuck. It's just like I told my wife goes, "Oh, you're watching Fall Guy?" I go, "Yeah." She goes, "I just saw this. It's so good." I'm like, "Okay." And I watch it all. I was like, "Yep, it's good." If I would have been at the theater to see that, I would have walked out Julio and said, like I did with Alien, the new Alien movie.
Mhm.
It's good. It's a good movie. And don't listen to these fucking retards like Gary, because you know what? The woman doesn't save the day. Ryan Gosling's a fucking stud in the movie, but he also takes his ass whoopings because he's just a stunt man. He's not a badass fighter. He's just a stunt man. It's great. Yeah. I just loved it, man. But I used to not like Gosling, but he's turning into a really good actor over time. Every movie I watch him, I'm like, yeah, okay, I believe it. Like, I get it. I actually get it. Like, he's good.
In these times that we're living in. Mr. President, for 3.5 years after you lost the 2020 election, you repeatedly falsely claimed that you won, many times saying you won in a landslide. In the past couple of weeks leading up to this debate, you have said, quote, you lost by a whisker, that you, quote, didn't quite make it, that you came up a little bit short.
I said that?
Are you now acknowledging that you lost in 2020?
No, I don't acknowledge that at all.
But
I
you
said
did
that
say
sarcastically.
But
You know
those-
that. It was said, oh, we lost by a whisker. That was said sarcastically. Look, there's so much proof. All you have to do is look at it. And they should have sent it back to the legislatures for approval. I got almost 75 million votes, the most votes any sitting president has ever gotten. I was told if I got 63, which was what I got in 2016, you can't be beaten. The election, people should never be thinking about an election as fraudulent. We need two things. We need walls, and we have to have it. We have to have borders, and we have to have good elections. Our elections are bad. And a lot of these illegal immigrants coming in, they're trying to get them to vote. They can't even speak English. They don't even know what country they're in practically. And these people are trying to get them to vote. And that's why they're allowing them to come into our country.
I did watch all of these pieces of video. I didn't detect the sarcasm, lost by a whisker. We didn't quite make it. And we should just point out here as clarification, and you know this, you and your allies, 60 cases in front of many judges, many of them
No
Republican.
judge looked at it.
And said
They said we didn't have standing. That's the other thing. They said we didn't have standing, a technicality. Can you imagine a system where a person in an election doesn't have standing? The president of the United States doesn't have standing. That's how we lost. If you look at the facts, and I'd love to have you'll do a special on it. I'll show you Georgia, and I'll show you Wisconsin, and I'll show you Pennsylvania, and I'll show you. We have so many facts and statistics, but you know what? That doesn't matter, because we have to solve the problem that we have right now. That's old news. And the problem that we have right now is we have a nation in decline, and they have put it into decline. We have have a nation that is dying, David.
Mr.
Jim,
President, thank you.
or Julio?
Vice President Harris, you heard the
Good
president
turn
there
of-
tonight. He said
good
he didn't
turn
say
of
that Federal
phrase right
officers
there,
were, so he
right?
still
Like-
believes
that.
that he did not
That
lose the
doesn't matter.
election that was won by President Biden and yourself. But I do want to ask you
Liar,
about something
Dave.
that's come up in the last couple of days.
I
This was
hate
a
you,
post
Dave.
from President Trump about this upcoming election just weeks away. He said, when I win, those people who cheated, and then he lists donors, voters, election officials, he says will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, which will include long-term prison sentences. One of your campaign's top lawyers responded saying, we won't let Donald Trump intimidate us. We won't let him suppress the vote. Is that what you believe he's trying to do here?
Donald Trump was fired by 81 million people.
Whoa,
So let's be clear about that.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's like basically they're doing her job for her.
Exactly. Like, what the fuck? Kevin says, please come back. Dave, please make Jim come back with food.
I'm not leaving anywhere. I'm controlling the video. I can't leave.
You can leave for your 30 seconds. Go grab your cheese
It's going to
popcorn.
take me longer than 30 seconds to go get food. I'm
if
not
you
leaving.
grab a
Come
bag
on.
of chips, like, anyway, like, and I like, whoa. This was terrible. Like, what the hell? This guy Dave is a piece of shit. Is this ABC?
It's ABC.
All
All right.
right,
I will
go
press play, and then I will go get food. Try
Please.
not to yell pause.
All right.
So you won't be able to pause.
That, and clearly he is
Pause!
having a
No.
very difficult time processing that. But we cannot afford to have a president of the United States who attempts, as he did in the past, to upend the will of the voters in a free and fair election. And I'm going to tell you that I have traveled the world as Vice President of the United States, and world leaders are laughing at Donald Trump. I have
Yeah,
talked with
sure.
military leaders,
Yeah,
some of
sure.
whom worked with you, and they say you're a disgrace.
Yeah.
And
fuck
when you
off.
then talk in
Fuck
this
you.
way in a presidential debate and deny what over and over again are court cases you have lost because you did in fact lose that election, it leads one to believe that perhaps we do not have in the candidate to
Fake
my right the
news.
temperament or the ability to not be confused about fact. That's deeply troubling, and the American people deserve
Shut the
better.
fuck up.
I'll give you 1 minute to respond, Mr. President.
Let me just say about world leaders. Viktor Orban, one of the most respected men, they call him a strong man. He's a tough person, smart. Prime Minister of Hungary. They said, why is the whole world blowing up? 3 years ago it wasn't. Why is it blowing up? He said, because you need Trump back as president. They were afraid of him. China was afraid, and I don't like to use the word afraid, but I'm just quoting him. China was afraid of him. North Korea was afraid of him. Look at what's going on with North Korea, by the way. He said Russia was afraid of him. I ended the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, and Biden put it back on day one, but he ended the XL pipeline. The XL pipeline in our country, he ended that. But he let the Russians build a pipeline going all over Europe and heading into Germany, the biggest pipeline in the world. Look, Viktor Orban said it. He said the most respected, most feared person is Donald Trump. We had no problems when Trump was president. But when this weak, pathetic man that you saw at a debate just a few months ago, that if he weren't in that debate, he'd be running instead of her. She got no votes. He got 14 million votes. What you did, you talk about a threat to democracy. He got 14 million votes, and they threw him out of office. And you know what? I'll give you a little secret. He hates her. He can't stand her. But he got 14 million votes. They threw him.
All right, I can't wait. What did I miss?
Go back like about 1 minute. Well, 30 seconds.
Germany, the biggest pipeline in the world. Look, Viktor Orban said it. He said the most respected, most feared person is Donald Trump. We had no problems when Trump was president. But when this weak, pathetic man that you saw at a debate just a few months ago, that if he weren't in that debate, he'd be running instead of her. She got no votes. He got 14 million votes. What you did, you talk about a threat to democracy. He got 14 million votes, and they threw him out of office. And you know what? I'll give you a little secret. He hates her. He can't stand her. But he got 14 million votes. They threw him out. She got 0 votes. And when she ran, she was the first one to leave because she failed. And now she's running. I don't understand it, but
Mr.
I'm okay
President,
with it
Mr.
because
President, your time is
I think
up.
we're
Thank
going to
you.
do very well.
We've got a lot more to get to.
Turning now
Yes.
to the Israel-Hamas war and the hostages who are still being held, Americans among them. Vice President Harris, in December, you said, quote, Israel has a right to defend itself, but you added, quote, it matters how, saying international humanitarian law must be respected. Israel must do more to protect innocent civilians. You said that 9 months ago. Now an estimated 40,000 Palestinians are dead. Nearly 100 hostages remain. Just last week, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said there's not a deal in the making. President Biden has not been able to break through the stalemate. How would you do it?
Well, let's understand how we got here. On October 7, Hamas, a terrorist organization, slaughtered 1,200 Israelis, many of them young people who were simply attending a concert. Women were horribly raped. And so, absolutely, I said then, I say now, Israel has a right to
Horribly
defend
raped?
itself. We would. And
what
how
kind
it
of
does so
rape is
matters. Because it is also true, far
Apparently
too
rape.
many innocent Palestinians have been killed. Children, mothers. What we know is that this war must end. It must end immediately.
Chips and salsa, just for you, Kevin,
Nice.
with jalapenos.
Spicy jalapenos or vinegar jalapenos?
They're like medium. They're the, like the ones that come from the La Preferita.
Oh, so they're not like
They're
gonna
not
burn
super
you
hot,
up.
but they're
Okay.
not the mild ones.
Gotcha.
Immediately, and the way it will end is we need a ceasefire deal and we need the hostages out. And so we will continue to work around the clock on that. Work around the clock, also understanding that we must chart a course for a two-state solution. And in that solution, there must be security for the Israeli people and Israel, and in equal measure for the Palestinians. But the
That'll
one thing
work.
I will assure you always, I will always give Israel the ability to defend itself, in particular as it relates to Iran and
No, you
any
won't.
threat that Iran and its proxies pose to Israel. But we
Again-
must have a
again,
two-state solution
yeah.
where we can rebuild Gaza,
Who
where the
fuck are
Palestinians.
we to tell Israel who they can defend themselves against? That's a weird thing in all this shit, Julio. Like, that's why I hate all these Middle East wars. Like, it's not our problem. Let them fight it out. Like, let somebody win finally. I don't care who wins.
Unfortunately, we've made it our problem.
Yeah, just like Russia did with Afghanistan for 20 years. Then we jumped in right after Russia did. It's fucking terrible. I just hate it all. Like, and we can give Trump shit, all this stuff we want, but he never got us into a new war. Never.
did.
It's
Never got us
amazing he
into it.
hasn't mentioned that.
Huh?
It's amazing he hasn't mentioned that.
Well,
That's what he
that's
should
true.
be saying. He should be
Yeah.
saying, they want to we're going to be in World War III if she gets elected because she's a
Yeah,
retard.
I'm not interested in starting new wars. I want world peace. That's what he should be saying. That, like, and I mean, just stop with this. Fuck Palestine. Fuck Israel. It's not our problem. Fuck Iran, Iraq, all these countries that have been fighting. They're fighting at a different level, Julio. They're not fighting for resources. They're fighting religious wars, and they've been doing it for thousands of years. And I don't care if when we win a war in that, they never ever went to a straight democracy or a democratic republic. You know why? Because they are so religious. They're going to vote for the people that's in their religious following. It's fucking crazy. So stop. We can't, like Bush kept saying, we're going to make these people democracies. Nope, didn't happen. Never going to happen. It was never about that. And we're sitting here begging for their fucking oil when we got more oil than they have. Our oil is so rich and deep in this country. It would put them to shame. We would make the Saudi princes poor tomorrow, Jim, if we wanted to, right? Like, we actually could. We could make them poor. We could take all of their,
Well, we'd have to get rid of the EPA first.
True. That's but we could do it for sure. Let's get back to retard talking.
Have security, self-determination, and the dignity they so rightly deserve.
President Trump, how would you negotiate with Netanyahu and also Hamas in order to get the hostages out and prevent the killing of more innocent civilians in Gaza?
If I were president, it would have never started. If I were president, Russia would have never, ever, I know Putin very well, he would have never, and there was no threat of it either, by the way, for 4 years, have gone into Ukraine and killed millions of people when you add it up, far worse than people understand what's going on over there. But when she mentions about Israel, all of a sudden, she hates Israel. She wouldn't even meet with Netanyahu when he went to Congress to make a very important speech. She refused to be there because she was at a sorority party of hers. She wanted to go to the sorority party. She hates Israel. If she's president, I believe that Israel will not exist within 2 years from now. And I've been pretty good at predictions, and I hope I'm wrong about that one. She hates Israel. At the same time, in her own way, she hates the Arab population because the whole place is going to get blown up. Arabs, Jewish people, Israel will be gone. It would have never happened. Iran was broke under Donald Trump. Now Iran has $300 billion because they took off all the sanctions that I had. Iran had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah or any of the 28 different spheres of terror. And they are spheres of terror, horrible terror. They had no money. It was a big story, and you know it. You covered it very well, actually. They had no money for terror. They were broke. Now they're a rich nation. And now what they're doing is they're spreading that money around. Look at what's happening with the Houthis and Yemen. Look at what's going on in the Middle East. This would have never happened. I will get that settled and fast, and I'll get the war with Ukraine and Russia ended. If I'm president-elect, I'll get it done before even becoming president.
I agree.
Harris, he says you
It's
hate
like
Israel.
it's like when
No,
Reagan
that's
became
absolutely
president,
not true.
Jim.
I have my entire
and
career and life supported
Iranian,
Israel and the Israeli people. He
hostages
knows that.
were released
He's
before
trying
he
to,
came
again,
into office,
divide
when
and
Reagan came into
distract
office.
from the reality.
Yeah.
I thought we didn't negotiate with terrorists. I thought that was a long-standing American policy. We don't negotiate.
I don't think
with
Reagan
terrorists.
negotiated. I think he pretty much said,
No, man. They just told him, how are you going to negotiate with Hamas?
yeah, he's not going to.
I said, we don't negotiate with terrorists. We kill them.
It's an unfixable problem.
Kevin, no.
Period.
I did not like that statement when Trump said millions of people have died. We just don't know about it in the Ukraine-Russian war. Like, I don't think anybody's died. I'm sorry. I just don't. I think it's videos of people just saying this shit's going on because, again, if fucking Putin wanted the Ukraine, it would take about 5 minutes. Like, just like the Falkland Islands or all this. It's like Ukraine has nothing that they can defend themselves against Russia with. He said millions, like millions of people have died. Bring up her slave-owning parents, Trump. Ooh, I would love it. I hope he does. Or grandparents, right? Or great-grandparents, Jim, wasn't it the case?
Well, according to the Ukrainians' numbers, I think they're claiming that they killed like 800,000 Russians or something. So
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Fake news. That's to show that they're winning a battle so that the Americans can keep sending them money. That there's no other reason to say that number. All right, let's get back to fucking.
Which is, it is very well known that Donald Trump is weak and wrong on national security and foreign policy. It is well known that he admires dictators,
ever. That was
wants to be
a strong
dictator
point,
on day one,
Julio.
according to himself. It is well known that he said of Putin that he can do whatever the hell he wants and go into Ukraine. It is well known that he said when Russia went into Ukraine, it was brilliant. It is well known he exchanged love letters with Kim Jong-un. And it is absolutely well known that these dictators and autocrats are rooting for you to be president again because they're so clear.
Wow.
They can manipulate you with flattery and favors.
Why didn't they do any of that when he was president?
Right.
So many military leaders who you have worked with have told me you are a disgrace. That is why we understand that we have to have a president who is not constantly weak and wrong on national.
All right.
So the American military leaders that constantly want to be at war say that Trump is weak on foreign policy. So their take on Trump is wrong because I don't want America fighting wars in countries I don't give a fuck about. I don't care.
Dave, she just said these leaders told me personally this stuff. So Trump needs to say, well, you know what? People have to. My fucking
You did
camera.
this. You did this.
My fucking camera. You see that shit?
I did.
Trump needs to tell her, say right now, oh, you motherfucker, don't you do it again.
Right. Yeah. Every time you scoop a chip, your camera's going to move.
Well, people have told me you give great head.
Yeah, exactly. Willie Brown, right? Willie Brown said that that Indian
Montel
Jamaican
Williams
chick,
told me that you used to do tag teams with him and that other broad.
you could suck the chrome off a trailer hitch. Yeah. The war between Ukraine and Russia has been going on since forever. Now I'm supposed to care. Yeah, eat a dick. It's so true. Like all these countries that we're supposed to be supporting with our tax dollars, Julio. Like, wouldn't you like a better bridge going from Virginia to Maryland on fucking 95? Because that bridge sucks, right? It sucks. But we're going to send money to Ukraine to fight some war that nobody cares about. We just don't care.
She's doing a very good job of lying, and Trump is doing a horrible job of telling the truth.
Nope.
Well, yeah, it depends on your perspective, though. I'm pretty sure that all the right wing analysts are going to look at Trump. He's being honest. He's telling the truth.
Well, they wouldn't be honest if they said that, because he's getting his ass kicked.
But I don't agree, because she's a liar, dude. I don't listen to liars.
Okay.
But I had 3.5 years of her under Biden, and nothing in my life has gotten better under her with Biden. So she's automatically a liar. And why would she be any? This bitch is so stupid. Like, she is a clueless person. Like, dude, look, man, I would rather have this idiot from California debating Trump, because it might actually have some more relevance. She is terrible. Like, she's terrible. There's nothing authentic about her. There's nothing about her in her 3.5 years as vice president that shows me that, she's telling me that Trump called up a bunch of people to block some plan to hire 1,500 more fucking border agents, but Trump's hated. If he's so hated, why would anybody in Congress and the Senate not vote against what he says? He's such a terrible person. Like, this is the bullshit I can't stand. Fuck her and everything she stands for. 3 days to Sunday. I don't care if she wins the debate in the public's mind. It doesn't matter, because she's full of shit. 1 gazillion percent. And you're probably right, Jim. He should have never did this debate. He should have just stayed the fuck home and hung out in his goddamn
we should have said she hasn't got a single vote for her. They rigged it. She's an installed candidate. I'm not gonna fucking lend credence to this disgrace that they pulled.
Mm-hmm. Why would I debate her? Who's she?
Right. And Kevin, you're right. Like this is a typical Trump debate. Like, it's not him against her. It's him against her and the moderators. And, well, that's not true. This is true. And he's like, fuck, dude. Like, I get, like, he's 70-something years old. He's like, fuck, God, I got to fight these assholes again. I thought mics were going to be turned off. I thought there was going to be no interruptions, but it doesn't happen. It only happens to me. I'm the guy that I don't get the respect for. Yeah, we talked about this. It was slave labor, Retro Dice.
Yeah.
But Trump didn't do a good job of talking about that, and we will admit that he didn't bring that up enough. But dude, she's so, man, I just can't stand it. I can't stand her. But actually, I can't stand politics anymore, Andrew. Like, politics are garbage.
Yeah. Kevin just said Fox has already extended the extended the invitation for a second debate, and her people have offered a second debate.
I'm sure they did.
Of course. But I don't again, do you think I think the only debate, Jim, probably in history that swayed people was the Nixon debate when he lost the presidency in 1960 against JFK.
Mob stuffed the ballots.
But I think that debate is the one that people actually look back to in history that said, this is what swayed a vote, right?
Like, well, that was the first televised debate.
And Nixon came off bad.
Nixon
Funny
refused to
was
wear
handsome.
makeup.
Right. He refused to wear makeup.
Why do you think Trudeau got elected? He has nice hair.
Just like Gavin Newsom is handsome, right?
I mean,
it's
really.
weird.
Dave, I'm going to cut out.
What?
I got to make a sandwich. I got to get up early tomorrow to hang out with my daughters.
How early?
I got to get up at 8:30. I got to drive an hour and a half.
Okay. I got to get up at 6 and drive 2 hours for
Okay.
my first fucking job, and then another 2 hours after that for my second. So, just kidding, Julio. Thanks for joining, buddy.
Thanks for having me on, Dave. Jim,
And
later.
never, ever tell me Kamala Harris is better than Trump ever again. I won't ban you from my fucking DMs.
I'm voting for Trump. She's kicking his ass. That's all I'm saying.
From the point of view of like a normal person who doesn't pay attention.
Oh no, I pay a lot of
he
attention.
pays
She's
a lot of
a liar
attention.
and a piece of shit. There's God help us if she wins. But
Right,
to
but
me,
right, but I'm
she-
saying, right, but I'm saying is like you know how normal how
People are going to vote. Yes.
Yeah.
Julio is very tuned into the feminist vote for some
I'm not.
reason.
I just think she's going to win because it's not because it's women are voting. It's because dumb people are voting. That's why they're important.
You actually think that she could win? Okay, so Julio, if it was a 1 day only vote and military mail-in ballots only, you think she could win against him?
It depends on who you're letting vote.
No,
You have
no,
to be a
no,
citizen.
no. Whatever the voting populace is for 1 day only, the day the election is happening, you think more people would turn up for her than him after 4 years of Biden? When my 28 or my 29, my 27, my 25-year-old with a son still lives with me, you think my kids are going to vote for her? Because
If you're a single mom, you care more about.
No, you're
Killing
also
babies
two. You're
than
also
you
you're also two
you're
young
having a
men
break for.
who cannot fucking get a job that will let them afford a house. You think
I
they're
hope-
going to vote for this guy or this chick?
I hope you're right.
No, I'm just asking a question. I mean, now, hey, I'm guessing a lot of people like living with their parents till they're 50. I never
No.
had that experience, but I guess it's a thing. But my God, dude, if you think that continuously voting for people that want you to live off of your parent or the government's tit is going to make your life better, it's not a thing, dude. It's
I'm
just
not saying I think she should win.
No,
just
but I'm saying, do you think
she's
young
going to
people
win.
actually think it's better for them to never have an opportunity to go buy a house? Because that little 2-bedroom house in rural Illinois that used to be $29,000 is now $150,000.
I don't know. I'm not young. I'm not sure a lot of young
Just
people.
look at Zillow though, dude. Like there was a house that sold up the road from me 2 miles or 3 miles. This house is just a split level, 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. It probably cost him $40,000 in 1980 when he built it. That fucking house sold for $400,000. Do you understand who can buy that house? It's a very small part of the population.
Mhm.
And that should not be how our country is. The whole point of home ownership is to build your wealth while you're working. You buy this house for $25,000, you pay it off in 30 years or 25 years, however long your loan is. Now that house is worth 75 or 85,000, maybe 100,000. And you're like, wow, I've got $75,000 in equity. I could sell this house, go buy a fucking camper and go visit Yosemite, go visit the Grand Canyon, go visit all these state parks and just live in my fucking camper with my wife because we've been married 30 years. That's all gone. It's all gone. There's none of that anymore because of this terrible shit that they've done to our housing economy. It's awful. Like that was the place we could go, Jim, as young people. If you had enough cash to put like 10% down, you could find a house that afforded your income, but they don't. Julio, go buy a house tomorrow in Fairfax County.
I wish I could.
You can't. It's impossible.
No, I could barely.
Even if you weren't paying your wives or your wife, you could not afford it because
you're right.
It's out of control. Like it's so out of control that builders are having a hard time building houses because they have to price them so high because of reasons, right? Because that's the value of property now in America, which is stupid. But and then they build these subdivisions and nobody buys the houses because guess what? If you already own a house, like I don't own it. I make payments, but if I sold my house tomorrow, took my equity and went to buy a new house, I'd probably pay more for a much smaller house with less land and a higher house payment. Like that's how
percentage of the population who understand that, and as somebody who's owned 2 houses, is dwindling. So those types of things don't matter to a large percentage of the population anymore.
Until it does, right? Until
Okay,
so they vote for Harris tomorrow. She wins the presidential election. And these people that voted for her 2 years later, they get married. They make this great guy. And now they're living with her mom because they can't even rent an apartment. It's so fucking expensive. Like that's how fucking sick the goddamn housing economy is, Andrew. I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know where you live, Andrew. I know Julio's in an apartment, but Julio could get a notice tomorrow on his door that says, "Oh, your rent's going up $400."
Why do you think? Why do you think there's this? What do you think happened that caused it?
Well, first of all, COVID crushed it. Like it made every builder jack the price of everything up.
Well, no, that was the cost of materials. But what has caused the housing crisis and everything to go up? There's something that happened over the past 3.5 years that caused it to go apeshit. Did you know what it is?
The new normal.
No, it's all the people that came into the country that are getting funds from the government for housing.
That's right.
They're all getting housing paid for by the government.
Yeah,
all 15 to 20 million people.
That's why
getting
nobody
housed by the government. They ran out of places to put them. They're putting them in fucking hotels.
Everybody's living for free, so they're going to want to vote for people who are going to let.
So if all the existing housing is getting that's there every time a new apartment opens up or whatever, and a migrant, illegal, whatever you want to call them, is able to come in with a government voucher saying the government's going to give you $800 or $1,000 or $1,500, whatever it is, a month for me to live there. And the people go, okay, that'd be insane not to take this guaranteed money from the government. That's what happened.
Have you ever seen Jason in the chat before, Jim?
No. You know, and that's why
in us all co-creating a better reality together without the mind control of external government. The only acceptable form of government is self-governance. Of course, like the whole Michael Malice anarchy thing is actually got some really good points, Jim. Like, fuck government. The government's not your friend. They're never your friend. They have been your friend, Andrew,
yeah, but
since
people in general are
sheep. They're sheep.
Well, no, there's some that are wolves. And so the government, something has to be there to protect the sheep from the wolves.
The people in the government are the wolves. We're the sheep that obey those wolves, right? But we all need to create counter economies and thrive without the hindrance of the satanic, technocratic, ultra crap. Known as government. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I agree. And you know what, guys? I have an alternative economy. It's called whatever. But just so you know, there's a link that's pinned to the chat in YouTube. It's my store. If you guys just want to buy a T-shirt, it's my alternative economy. I like Malice. I stopped listening to him. I don't know why. Maybe because I just got, into different stuff, but Malice is a pretty good dude, Chris. Okay, so Blue Gundam for 5. Thank you for this first super chat of the night, Blue Gundam. Your $5 has earned you this. I'm on Michael Malice's side. I don't like Trump or Kamala. I see them both as puppets saying that their masters are saying what their masters want them to say. Yeah, I get it, Blue Gundam, but we have to vote for somebody. Like if we we have to put our faith somewhere, Jim.
Jim, 2024.
Well, yeah, Dave, 2024. You're looking for the lesser of two evils. And
no, I want the evilest person I can find to get rid of all the evil people.
You're probably right, but Trump didn't do that the first time. He said he was going to prosecute Hillary. He never did. Because he
didn't actually say he was going to prosecute her. He just said she belonged in jail.
He said he's going to fucking go after Hillary, dude. Like,
I thought he just said you'd be in jail or something like that. He didn't actually say. I just wanted to play this real quick before we get back. This is just a quick little snippet of Bobby Kennedy talking about the debate, which I found interesting.
What does that mean? No, we don't, Dave. We don't want the lesser of two evils. Do we want the most evil? Okay. Hey, Retro, are you feeling better today, bud? Like, are you feeling good? I know you had some problems this weekend. Are you feeling better? Yeah, that's why. It's like I stopped listening to Breitbart. I stopped listening to Fox because, Andrew, none of them have our best interests at heart. They just don't. They want the clicks. They want people to tune into their show. I'm gonna buy a chicken coop next summer or next spring, Jim. And I'm gonna start raising chickens, and I'm gonna do all that.
Hopefully, the solar flares don't get here before then.
What are you playing here?
This is just a quick 30-second clip of Bobby Kennedy talking about the moderators. I thought we would listen to this before we jump back into the debate.
Fortunately, we had moderators who were clearly biased, who were constantly fact-checking Donald Trump. But none of these kind of whoppers that the vice president was saying, and none of her failure to really explain that, answer that first question, that very, very critical first question. They simply sat there on the sidelines and allowed that to pass. Fortunately, we had moderators.
That's very interesting.
I guess, but isn't this what they say after every debate? I mean, so you're doing all right? Good.
Usually they try. I mean, they did not fact check her one time.
Hey, Retro, you got my address, right? Because I cannot wait to hang up your mom's art in my background. I cannot wait for it to get here. Oh, that's Tank Ferret says tonight's debate was fact checking was sponsored by Wikipedia. Do you understand? I never go to Wikipedia to learn something.
No.
Ever. Because it's isn't it all written by
lefties
or just internet people? Like you can go into a topic and say what you want to say based on that topic. So like Chris Pratt, he's you get a bunch of lefties going there. He's a right-wing asshole, but he's just a guy that wants to love his family and do whatever. It's crazy. I never go to Wikipedia. I don't think it's a factual site. I think they're dishonest, Jim. So I've gotten so bad. No problem, Retro. Look, man, you're here. Like Retro said to me the other night, he goes, Dave, you really hate tattoos. And I'm super tattooed. Yeah, but you're not a chick. I don't like tattoos on chicks. Like that's a different story, right, Jim? Like I'm not a big tramp stamp guy. Maybe that makes me a sexist. I don't know. It's I fuck Wikipedia, dude. Let's get back to retard ass.
Security, including the importance of upholding and respecting in highest regard our military.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
They're the ones, and she's the one that caused it, that's weak on national security by allowing every nation last month for the year, 168 different countries sending people into our country. Their crime rates are way down. Putin endorsed her last week, said, I hope she wins. And I think he meant it, because what he's gotten away with is absolutely incredible. It wouldn't have happened with me. The leaders of other countries think that they're weak and incompetent, and they are. They are grossly incompetent. And I just ask one question. Why does Biden go in and kill the Keystone Pipeline and approve the single biggest deal that Russia's ever made, Nord Stream 2, the biggest pipeline anywhere in the world going to Germany and all over Europe? Because they're weak and they're ineffective. And Biden, by the way,
President
gets paid
Trump,
a lot of money.
Thank you. We have a lot of issues to get to.
We'll be right back with much more of this historic ABC News presidential debate from the National Constitution Center right here in Philadelphia. Back in to win this war.
I want the war to stop. I want to save lives that are being uselessly, people being killed by the millions. It's the millions. It's so much worse than the numbers that you're getting, which are fake numbers. Look, we're in for 250 billion or more, because they don't ask Europe, which is a much bigger beneficiary to getting this thing done than we are. They're in for $150 billion less because Biden and you don't have the courage to ask Europe like I did with NATO. They paid billions and billions, hundreds of billions of dollars when I said, either you pay up or we're not going to protect you anymore. So that's maybe one of the reasons they don't like me as much as they like weak people. But you take a look at what's happening. We're in for 250 to 275 billion. They're into 100 to 150. They should be forced to equalize. With that being said, I want to get the war settled. I know Zelensky very well, and I know Putin very well. I have a good relationship, and they respect your president, okay? They respect me. They don't respect Biden. How would you respect him? Why? For what reason? He hasn't even made a phone call in 2 years to Putin, hasn't spoken to anybody. They don't even try and get it. That is a war that's dying to be settled. I will get it settled before I even become president. If I win, when I'm president-elect, and what I'll do is I'll speak to one, I'll speak to the other, I'll get them together. That war would have never happened. And in fact, when I saw Putin after I left, unfortunately left because our country has gone to hell. But after I left, when I saw him building up soldiers, he did it after I left, I said, oh, he must be negotiating. It must be a good, strong point of negotiation. Well, it wasn't, because Biden had no idea how to talk to him. He had no idea how to stop it. And now you have millions of people dead, and it's only getting worse, and it could lead to World War III. Don't kid yourself, David. We're playing with World War III, and we have a president that we don't even know if he's... Where is our president? We don't even know if he's a president.
And just to clarify
they
here...
threw him out of a campaign like a dog. We don't even know. Is he our president? But we have a president,
Mr. President,
that doesn't know he's alive.
Your time is up. Just to clarify in the question, do you believe it's in the U.S. best interest for Ukraine to win this war, yes or no?
I think it's the U.S. best interest to get this war finished and just get it done.
Right.
Negotiate a deal, because we have to stop all of these human lives from being destroyed.
I want to take this to Vice President Harris. I want to get your thoughts on support for Ukraine in this moment, but also as Commander-in-Chief, if elected, how would you deal with Vladimir Putin, and would it be any different from what we're seeing from President Biden?
Well, first of all, it's important to remind the former president you're not running against Joe Biden, you're running against me.
Jim, Jesus Christ.
I believe the reason that Donald Trump says that this war would be over within 24 hours is because he would just give it up. And that's not who we are as Americans. Let's understand what happened here. I actually met with Zelensky a few days before Russia invaded, tried through force to change territorial boundaries to...
Yeah, because she met with Zelensky and said that they were going to bring Ukraine into NATO, and that's why Russia invaded.
Yeah.
Holy
Zelensky
fuck, did she just open it up?
Zelensky also said, y'all motherfuckers owe me a lot of money. I hired his dipshit son. I want some cash. And they're like, well, we're not going to give you the cash. I mean, fucking weird, dude. And Pastor, Woe's still watching this? Yeah, because we're actually EFAPing the fuck out of it. We've been EFAPing this hard because it's awful. The word government takes turns on where to host the modern day human sacrifice rituals, and they disguise these human war as war. Oh, whoa. Jason, where have you been all our life? Like, why is this your first time being on my show? This is awesome. I have a question, says Tank Ferret. Trump, Harris. So anyway,
that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I look, man. Nobody wants Trump to win except for everybody that voted for Trump 8 years ago now, right, Jim?
Yeah.
And probably all their kids, right? Like, think about it. Like, all my kids are going to vote Trump. They're just going to go to the booth, and I've got 3 of them or 4 of them. They're all going to go vote Trump when the election happens. I'm sure, Jim, you have some influence on people that you care about. They're going to vote for people that you actually like. And I can't imagine, Joe Biden said something, a month ago when he goes, Kamala Harris is our future. She's this young person that's got a great vision for America. And then we found out she's in her 60s, right, Jim? Like, Kamala's not young. She's not a young person. She's not, what's that faggot that works for the Biden administration that's over the Department of Transportation from Indiana? Come on. You know who I'm talking about, right? The gay guy.
But Gugler.
But Buttigieg. Buttigieg.
Yeah, Buttigieg.
Yeah. So he's just a fucking guy that, is just one of these people. Pastor Flash says, I want Trump to win. And pastors from Australia, think about that, guys. Foreign countries understand how important Trump is to their economies. That's the crazy thing. I just they understand when Trump was in the presidential role, the whole world was better, right, Jim? It's not just like America was better. Other countries were doing great things with their economies, like Australia, like England was so bold, Jim. They said, fuck the EU, right? They said, fuck off. We're right.
Sure.
They did not. They got out of it. They
That
said,
was
we're out.
they got out before Trump came in. Actually,
are you sure?
Yeah, they voted for Brexit. No, it was right before they voted.
I thought it was. I don't.
Yeah, I think it was right before.
Look that up, Andrew. When did England leave Brexit? Even the liberals want Trump to win. They need someone to cry about. I agree. Like, it's 4 years of great content.
For June 23rd, 2016. Oh, wait. So following a referendum held in the UK on June 23rd, 2016, Brexit officially took place on January 31st, 2020.
No, they voted in 2016 before the trial. It was like months before.
But it took them 4 years to actually take place, right?
Yeah, for them to put everything in place.
That's fine. So
people voted it, and then they kept trying to delay it and stop it.
Well, yeah, even Alistair says Brexit was 2016. So, all right. So that was like right when Trump was getting voted in, right? Like the election was, coming up. Like, nobody knew Trump. Like, everybody thought Hillary was going to win, right? Like, that was the myth.
It was her time.
Pete fucks your butt. I learned a lot from Mark Passio from What on Earth is Happening. Is that a YouTube channel? Mark Passio?
I think that yeah.
Okay. I'm going to write that down because I drive a lot, Andrew. You know that, right? So
yeah.
I want to listen to people that are interesting to me. So Mark Passio.
Or like just search for What on Earth is Happening.
Yeah. I watch I've been watching a lot of missing 411 stuff lately. It's creepy. Like this guy Dave that does that whole channel. He's into some conspiracy theory woo-woo stuff too. He thinks aliens have taken people in the woods, Jim. I would love to have him on, but he's so big. Mark Passio is the shit, especially if you like getting yelled at. Mark Passio is nuts, but he put on a great show. Cool. I will check it out. It was her time until she shit her pants getting helped into the van. Well, just like Biden shit at the Vatican, right, Jim? Like he
Sure.
shit. Yeah. He's been very angry lately. Please go to the very beginnings of his work. Oh, okay. I don't want angry. I just want like gotta admit, a gay dude with a name too similar to Booty Judge. Do Bill Cooper, Myron Passio, and Myron Fagan. Oh, okay. So check out all three. Says Rocky. All right, let me write them down. God damn it. I'm trying to cut down my fucking YouTube subscribes. Bill Cooper. I think I've heard that name before, but that's pretty generic name. Bill Cooper and Myron Fagan. You ever heard of him, Jim?
No.
Myron Fagan. All right. Also check out. All right, goddamn, Jason. I like to watch the Y-Files because he like the beauty of JJ and Hecklefish for 40 minutes is they suck you in and they believe it, right, Jim?
Sure.
And he goes, but is it true? And Hecklefish goes, no, it's all true. I've been listening to Mark for a few years now. Can't beat his presentations. Wow. All right. So Flip City Magazine, you're saying better than Nerdrotic? Jan Irvin is pretty good. So what is it? What do they talk about? What do they talk about? Is it government stuff or is it conspiracy stuff? I would like to know what they talk about. All right, so let's get back to Trump looking grumpy. He does look very grumpy. Hey, oh, by the way, chat, if you guys were over on Ethan's show, did he sell out all the blue copies? Oh, natural law. Ooh. I agree with the natural law. Do you agree with that, Jim? I think natural law is a thing. Like what I don't like governance as far as just my daily operations as a person. Now, do I think murdering somebody is a good thing? Probably not. However, if somebody rapes my daughter, I'm going to go kill that motherfucker, and I don't think I should be prosecuted. It's like, do you disagree, Jim? Like, I should have the...
No, eye for an eye, Old Testament.
Well, just like it's your natural reaction to somebody doing something terrible to somebody you care about, right? Did Jim buy all 800 copies of the Blue MAGA variant?
No, I bought 1%.
8 copies?
Yeah.
Okay. Guys, next week's going to be a purple variant or a white variant to make it red, white, and blue. I just can't. Don't think he did, Dave. He never said they are all gone. Oh, really? Because he sold 200 copies with the the Subscribe Star people, right, Jim? In like 10 minutes.
Yeah, real fast.
But he hasn't sold. Check it out. Check it out, Jim. Are the blue variants still available?
I think they're gone. I'll look.
Yeah,
right
next
now.
is white. It's going to be red, white, and blue. It's going to be all MAGA, Alistair. Yeah, bring back gentlemen's duels. Bring back all the stuff that makes men men, that makes men actually want to, like, have the confrontation. I just think that's a thing. Look, If you're a pussy, you're a pussy.
No, he
You
didn't
just
sell out. He's still got five. It says he's got 547 remaining, but I think he's got it fucked up because he didn't have the 200 he sold initially taken off. So
he's probably got 300 left or
he's got
so.
like, well, less than that because he's also not got it subtracted right from the. He's sold 10 copies, so that's 40 plus another 5 copies, so that's 25, so that's 65. So I would say he's got under 300 left.
Is it eBay or is it Indiegogo?
Indiegogo. So it says according to this 547, but that's not correct because he had 800 up there to start with. And,
well, but maybe he had more than 800. maybe Indiegogo is doing the math. So it was 381 when Ethan checked on stream. They were that were still available, says Alistair. That's fine, dude. I look, man. I mean, like Jim said earlier, how many copies of the same book can I have with just different color? And when's that book supposed to be released, Jim?
I don't know.
Right. Like, I'm still waiting on Dark Harvest, right, Jim?
Yep. And I'm still waiting on my Harpsichords.
And then I bought I think I bought 8 copies of the second version of the Red Maga, Jim, right?
I don't know. I bought a bunch of them.
Well, yeah, but you got the first and the second version. I only bought the second version because I didn't know the first version, because I can't watch every fucking Ethan stream because I'm streaming too, and I'm talking to my wife and kids. Oh, I left Eric a nice little comment after saying the industry needs more readers. I agreed, but the industry didn't need shitty books. Oh, you think this book's going to be out this year, Kevin?
Yeah, it's just going to be printed. It's all done. It's just the cover. It's all done. It's just going to get printed and shipped.
So it's already done.
Yeah, the book's done. It's just Blood Honey.
Okay. So how many Trump covers is he gonna make of different books to get us to buy him?
As many as he can get away with.
Right.
You know when he'll stop? When people stop buying him, when he doesn't sell, when he's got a bunch left over. That's when he'll stop.
Which is better marketing than Eric does, right? Fuck. Jim, send me the link because
it's just a red extermination thing on Indiegogo. I can put it in a private chat. Hold on.
Yeah. God damn it, Chad. He said blue cover is at the printer. So is red already done, Pastor?
They're all going to be at the printer at the same time. He's getting them all printed just with different covers. That way it's cheaper. Get the cost down.
Well, Chris, I made $5 in super chats tonight. I'm going to go in debt supporting fucking blue version of the same book that I bought 8 copies of last week. That's red. There you go. So it's $25.
Mm-hmm. And only 20 if you want it signed.
Really?
Yeah.
He's doing that? I'm not doing that. So $25, chat. Let's present this to the chat. So it's $25 for the blue variant, and I have the red variant. What does that say? ROM Trick 7/13/2024. ROM Trick. What does that mean?
Cyber Frog's name is Trick Ron. So it's the first, last name first name last, like a mugshot thing. 7/13/24, the date he was shot.
All right, so it's $25, $10 shipping. So what if I buy 6 of them? It's $10 for each book, Jim?
Go down. Don't do that. Go down to the other one on the add-on. You understand? So take that down. Go back and add one on down below, and the shipping should be reduced.
Right here?
Yeah.
So get one.
Yeah, and then add them on down below.
So there's one. And then go down to this, right?
Yeah. Get the add-on. It should be I'll go up and look at the shipping. It shouldn't be $10 per book, I don't think now.
It's a total of 10.
Right. So yeah, if you add the extra ones, the shipping is included. Like it's
What the fuck? Really? It's that easy to get around it? Holy shit.
Yes, it is.
Chat, I hope you learned a lesson. like seriously. Wow. External government is slavery. Yeah, of course. We're all working for somebody, right? So where'd it go? Okay, so wow, so I can get all these books for $10 shipping. Let's turn this off now. You guys don't need to see my fucking credit card information.
Take the tip off.
Yeah, the tips bullshit. Fuck you, Indiegogo.
Here, why don't you pop my screen back up and I'll play the rest of this.
Of course.
Economy, while we have also increased domestic gas production to historic levels. We have created over 800,000 new manufacturing jobs while I have been vice president. We have invested in clean energy to the point that we are opening up factories around the world. Donald Trump said he was going to create manufacturing jobs. He lost manufacturing jobs. And I'm also proud to have the endorsement of the United Auto Workers and Sean Fain, who also know that part of building a clean energy economy includes investing in American-made products, American automobiles.
She just accepted the endorsement of a terrorist group in Ireland, Sinn Féin.
Yeah.
Wow. Is that
she's
the
awful.
people that blow shit up? That's horrible.
Growing what we can do around American manufacturing and opening up auto plants, not closing them like happened under Donald Trump.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
That didn't happen under Donald Trump. Let me just tell you, they lost 10,000 manufacturing jobs this last month. It's going, they're all leaving. They're building big auto plants in Mexico, in many cases owned by China. They're building these massive plants, and they think they're going to sell their cars into the United States because of these people. What they have given to China is unbelievable. But we're not going to let that. We'll put tariffs on those cars so they can't come into our country, because they will kill the United Auto Workers and any auto worker, whether it's in Detroit or South Carolina or any other place. What they've done to business and manufacturing in this country is horrible. We have nothing because they refuse. You know, Biden doesn't go after people because supposedly China paid him millions of dollars. He's afraid to do it. Between him and his son, they get all this money from Ukraine. They get all this money from all of these different countries. And then you wonder, why is he so loyal to this one, that one, Ukraine, China? Why is he? Why did he get $3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow's wife? Why did she pay him $3.5 million? This is a crooked administration, and they're selling our country down the tubes.
President Trump, thank you.
Thank you. We'll be right back with closing statements from both of our candidates. An historic night, this ABC News presidential debate from Philadelphia. Back in a moment.
Are you a Republican or a Democrat? The only thing I ever ask them, are you okay? And that's the kind of president we need right now. Someone who cares about you and is not putting themselves first. I intend to be a president for all Americans and focus on what we can do over the next 10 and 20 years to build back up our country by investing right now in you, the American people.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump?
So she just started by saying she's going to do this, she's going to do that, she's going to do all these wonderful things. Why hasn't she done it? She's been there for 3.5 years. They've had 3.5 years to fix the border. They've had 3.5 years to create jobs and all the things we talked about. Why hasn't she done it? She should leave right now, go down to that beautiful White House, go to the Capitol, get everyone together and do the things you want to do, but you haven't done it, and you won't do it because you believe in things that the American people don't believe in. You believe in things like, we're not going to frack, we're not going to take fossil fuel, we're not going to do things that are going to make this country strong, whether you like it or not. Germany tried that, and within 1 year, they were back to building normal energy plants. We're not ready for it. We can't sacrifice our country for the sake of bad vision. But I just ask one simple question. Why didn't she do it? We're a failing nation. We're a nation that's in serious decline. We're being laughed at all over the world. All over the world, they're laughed. I know the leaders very well. They're coming to see me. They call me. We're laughed at all over the world. They don't understand what happened to us as a nation. We're not a leader. We don't have any idea what's going on. We have wars going on in the Middle East. We have wars going on with Russia and Ukraine. We're going to end up in a third world war, and it'll be a war like no other because of nuclear weapons, the power of weaponry. I rebuilt our entire military. She gave a lot of it away to the Taliban. She gave it to Afghanistan. What these people have done to our country, and maybe toughest of all, is allowing millions of people to come into our country. Many of them are criminals, and they're destroying our country. The worst president, the worst vice president in the history of our country.
President Trump, thank you. And that is our ABC News presidential debate from here in Philadelphia at the National Constitution Center. I'm Lindsay Davis.
And I'm David Muir. Thank you for watching here in the U.S. and all over the world.
And that's it. Yeah, so it's our show now.
Good morning, folks. Today we're focused mostly on the sun, what's expected today, what happened yesterday, and the bullet we dodged as a planet. We'll also be checking in on Francine, the tropical storm in the Gulf of Mexico, but we are starting with the last 24 hours on our star. Once again, we had a few M-class solar flares. The most relevant one was a long-duration flare at the sunspot group just north of the equator near central longitudes. You see it sandwiched there between the large dark coronal holes. Let's take a closer look at that long-duration flare. You see it there erupting the plasma in the corona, and that visual combined with the long nature of the flare event, we're not surprised to see a faint halo eruption. That should be on its way to Earth and arrive at the end of the week. We've already got faint CMEs on their way to Earth, expected today. Minor geomagnetic storm conditions likely, and we'll have a coronal hole stream on the way from these, likely to arrive this weekend. Quick jump over to the infrared view of Tropical Storm Francine. It's expected to become a hurricane and then shoot north towards Louisiana for impact tomorrow.
Oh yeah,
We've
it's coming
covered this
here.
one for a couple days in a row. Hopefully locals are ready for the event. We're back to the sun, where in addition to yesterday's eruption and the ones expected to arrive at Earth today, yesterday morning we discussed a far side eruption which you can see around the periphery of the sun here, rippling the corona in a massive way from just over the limb out of view on the far side of the sun. The CME became fully visible on satellite data yesterday, and wow, I know we've got CMEs expected to arrive today and later this week, but what came off the far side was vastly bigger. Likely an X-class event. Good, that one is not heading our way. Should impact Venus today, actually. Folks, two big events coming up at Observer Ranch. First, in 10 days, the Founders Weekend events will take place. It's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Event tickets are listed in the link below. Go to observerranch.com to book a stay at the campground. Also, October 19th, as many of you have already heard, the rest of the Observer Ranch team insists on bringing awareness to the fact that I'll be turning 40 years old. So, Founders Weekend in 10 days, my birthday event in about 5 weeks. Both event pages are listed below. Don't forget I'm out at the ranch every week, including today from late morning to early afternoon. We would love to see you out there. I hope you can come to one of the events or even for a quick visit some other time. Links below. We greatly appreciate your support. We'll do this all again tomorrow. Right here, but right now at 6 a.m. in the new Valley of the Sun. Eyes open. No fear. Be safe, everyone.
Andrew, do you have your thing ready for your book?
Yeah.
Show it, buddy.
All right. So this is going to be the last time I'm going to show it, because I'm like, basically like halfway through the book.
What do you have it like an expected release date for part 2?
I do not, because I can't really like predict these things. I'm not very good at predicting, and I'm gonna be back